let the flame ignite. Don't be scared of the stage, it's your time to shine. Press play, just remember you the man, yeah, you the man. Anybody disagrees, who cares anyway? We on a rocket ship going up to space, y'all. We on a mission to the stars, looking back now. Turn me up, cause I'm coming in loud. I'm gonna walk into the room, all I hear is wow. Ready for this? Enjoy this. I'm gonna live my life in the starlight. This rhythm is burning deep inside. Electric, so alive. I'm gonna dance all night in the moonlight. Won't stop until my dreams are light to the world. I'm gonna touch the sky. Turn it up, the good vibes. Set free and balance inside. Don't stop, it's our vibe. We'll be higher than the sun. I'm gonna live my life in the starlight. Won't stop until my dreams are light to the world. I'm gonna touch the sky. Turn it up, the good vibes. Set free and balance inside. Don't stop, it's our vibe. We'll be higher than the sun. I'm gonna live my life in the starlight. Won't stop until my dreams are light to the world. I'm gonna touch the sky.
Good evening, it's time to get the show started. Finally, we're gonna have our series for the day. This is going to be Rival Esports against Silver Team. Now, it's your favorite kind of tofu, kindofu, and with me today, once again, it's Hauler. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm actually super excited for this one. I thought the first series was going to be an awesome one, but unfortunately we had a little bit of a forfeiture and we're just kind of moving on this one. And you talked about the teams, Rival Esports, Silver Team going up against one. This is going to be the lower bracket quarterfinals. The most interesting part about this one is the fact that these teams have not played in a best of 5 yet. And this is going to be the first time that they're doing this in the qualifiers, global ban pick, everything is going to be at stake for
Yeah,
this.
you need to be mentally limber, right? You need to make sure you got your stretches in and really just strategize how you want to play this long series out, because it is a different kind of ball game compared to a best of 3. You can kind of blitz your opponent, but BO5s, you really have to be careful about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy involved. Of course, there's endurance. There's a whole lot of factors that were really not considered in those best of 3s prior to this one. And the fact that you're into the best of 5s now, our team's going to pick up like really strong ones in those first couple of games. It's a completely different ball game at this point.
Yeah, so I mean, 2 major questions, right? Number 1, are we going to see the Agudo come into this particular series itself? Number 2, do they want to go for the tank strategy on the jungler role as well, right? These are some of the things that I think a couple of teams have tried so far from the start of the year until now. And, you know, different teams have garnered different results as well.
Yeah, I mean, everything, you got to try things out. I think that this is the right time to do so. But of course, getting on, I mean, if you lose this series, though, you're going to be going home. Yes, you're going to be getting some money. But unfortunately, you want to be like moving on. Like, that's the biggest thing, right? Like learning those lessons and kind of making sure that you're into the top 4 as we go into this one. There's 6 teams that can potentially get into this one. We have games today as well as tomorrow to figure out who those final 2 teams are going to be. But again, there's so much at stake at this point. I would say that there's a lot of pressure for these teams. And again, like putting yourself in that pressure cooker and trying to like really play out on this one and survive and move on and to play against Enigma in this case, it's got to be super scary and a little bit of a daunting task.
Yeah, we've already seen how Enigma is like. They are pretty strong as well. And look, I think the first game really sets the tone for the series as well, because if you get that win on that first game, you kind of settle down, you feel your nerves as well. And it's like, okay, we figured out the formula, let's continue with what works. But for the team that loses in the first game of the series, it's kind of stressful because it's like, you know what, I thought this would work and it didn't. We have to really quickly reformulate how we want to take this series again.
Yeah, look, I'm kind of mixed on this first one. I think that the global ban pick has been somewhat new this year, right? And so we haven't seen teams really play to, I mean, they've been playing with probably their best foot forward. We haven't really seen the horse trading, so to speak, where they might go in with a not as optimal lineup and going into this one. But I think that what we've seen, at least from KPL and some of the other regions that have kind of been using this for years, is that usually game 1 is that tone setter. You want to, again, just make sure that you're playing very well and you're playing strong because you want to win that one. You want to put pressure on the enemy team and make them react to what you're doing.
Okay, so for those that are unsure of what we're talking about is the global ban pick format. Now, this has been adopted from the KPL side since 2018, and what this means is you only get 1 shot at your hero choice. If you pick it, win or lose, you will not be able to use it in the series again.
Yeah, and it's actually very dynamic, right? I mean, players have to be really deep in terms of that hero pools. Plus that once I know what the enemy team has kind of picked throughout, I don't have to worry about those heroes even moving forward. So we don't see the same lineups every single time. Yes, it tends to be limited just to whatever team picks those heroes. It's not like a cross, like the one time you pick it and then every team can't use it throughout. It's just more of like, hey, if one of the teams like Rival Esports picks one and then they can't pick that hero again. So it's going to be very interesting going and to get to that game 4 or 5. Sometimes we see some crazy heroes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you have the need to expand your hero pool as well, right? And not only just expand it, you need to have proficiency on these heroes. You need to know what their weaknesses, their strengths are, and what are the key moments in the game that you're looking out for, right? For the usage of the skills, or whether you're looking for the split push, or even the stealing of neutral objectives as well. These are all little things that matter in the long run. And so far, I think most teams have impressed us with how deep their depth in the hero pool is.
Yeah, I think most teams have proven that things are okay, H-okay, am I right? And just ensuring that they're able to kind of have those heroes on the ready, ensuring that they're able to play probably 5 to 10 heroes deep. It's deeper than it's ever been throughout. But again, if you're very limited and you have like a hero puddle instead of a hero pool, some of those teams really struggle, especially when those 7-game series are about to happen, right? So for this one, it's kind of like, hey, a best of 5, still pretty a daunting milestone to kind of hit. But you need to ensure that your players are ready and you're able to synergize and coordinate even with some of those less than optimal, quote unquote, heroes.
Yep, and this is not the only learning experience, right? So after you take a look at playing in the big leagues itself, you can also take a look at the vault of other teams, what they're doing with the draft. And once you're done with the research, then you say, you know what? Okay, it's time for HOK. Let's go into the gorge, get that work in, and see how we're going to perform in the tournament basis as well.
Yeah, and I think if we're learned anything from Season 3, which is, again, the appearance of this global ban pick, is that teams tended to stick to a certain template. Whereas, they're like, a specific jungler, like a tankier style, like a clash laner who can make plays throughout the map. Like, you have like general play styles, and then you would just kind of insert whatever heroes were available. But we've seen that throughout that generally it's those templates that they move forward even into games 3s and 4 so that they have that same sort of play style.
Yeah, and in fact, I think teams now are also starting to learn to play the player rather than the game, right? So yes, there are standard templates in terms of the draft, but once you know a little bit more about your opponents, then you go into the details of like, you know what, actually this guy doesn't perform on that hero that well. Let's try a different pick and we'll smash them with that.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not able to play well, they're not okay, HOK, right? They're going to have a real tough time. I think that they're going to really struggle. And you're going to see some of that happen, right? Again, going into this one. But look, this is definitely a change up, right? In terms of your scrims, where you might play, best of 3 to kind of just get a feel for how they're playing. Are we able to coordinate just putting your best heroes forward? But like the coach or whoever the captain is dealing with the draft really needs to do their research, because not only do you need to know your own hero pools, but you also need to look at the opponents. Like, what are they showing? What are they able to pick out? So that you're really attacking them while at the same time optimizing your own lineup.
Yeah, and this is why a coach is so important, right? In the professional league and in professional games as well, because you take that mental mind share away, you take that stress away, allow your players to really go in, just understanding, focusing on what they actually need to do rather than caring about, hey, is this the best hero to counter what has been picked, right? They take away the stress, they give them a little bit more breathing space, and hopefully that gives them a better chance of performing when they're on stage.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be pretty much it, right? Once you're qualified into MKL, everything is going to be up close and personal. You're going to have an audience. You're going to have, the potential for offline, all of these things, right? They're going to be able to see O2 Esports and AG Global, who have also qualified already going in. Congrats to both of those teams. They qualified yesterday. But getting into that level, you're also going to be playing up against some big dogs, right? Like Team Secret, BSE. Both of these teams have done quite well, and they've been quite formidable and almost at a scary point, because now, again, you're playing some of these teams that are really going to be taking it to you.
Yep, pinnacle of their art at this point, right? And I think a lot of people don't really catch on to this, but once you get into the big leagues, it doesn't get easier from there. In fact, it's going to be even tougher, because right now they might know strategies that you might not know of, and then you might get your butt handed to you on a silver platter in some of the games, right? But it's this kind of experience that really allows you to grow as a team. You play with the best to learn from the best.
Yeah, and almost, okay, look, since like season 2, we've seen Malaysian teams, aside from EWC, like all the Malaysian squads have been winning all the championships, right? And it seems like if you win MKL, you would definitely be the favorite going into the next big international tournament, right? So there's so many different things that, like, there's so much at stake. And, you know, Malaysia being one of the strongest regions to be dealing with, like, this is the time to shine and to really just, like, to be, if you're, you know, to kind of test yourself if you're top tier or not.
Yeah, to put it into perspective, your whole life could change if you become the champion of MKL as well. So let's take a look at the first game, as these two teams will try to pit themselves against each other and try to achieve glory.
Yeah, this is going to be game 1, the first draft. Rival Esports going up against Silver Team going into this one. Look, I would be lying if I said I knew a lot of what these players are looking to pick on this one. We haven't gotten too much. There's not too much tape out there, so to speak. So it's going to be a little bit interesting in that sense. But again, these guys, I'm sure, have played against each other. So if anything, they do have that intel on again, the opposing squad.
Right, so let's start off with Silver Team first. They're going to be fielding Yu, JK, Do, WH, and JS as well. Now, Holler, tell me about this rival esports team. Who's playing for them as well?
It's going to be Kenji, Zinger, Rising Star, Milo, and of course, Hero. We'll see how they end up playing out, but it's going to be interesting going into this one, because like having that research, and it looks like that they're just going to go with somewhat stronger bans or hero picks meta. You know, the Dia, the Dolia, you know, basically very, very tough heroes to deal with, and it looks like they're kind of attacking the roamers here.
Yeah, I think right now it's all about number 1, control, number 2, burst potential, right? So now I think we're looking at potential openings for assassin-style junglers or even tank meta junglers in this case. The Organ is available for the pick, the Pei is available for the pick as well. And it looks like, you know, one of the favorites that we've not really seen in first games is going to come out. It's going to be the Mai Shiranui. Very good control with the new patch. There is significant cooldowns on her first skill with the Kachosen as well. So she's able to deal a consistent amount of damage, but there is a bit of pressure because it requires her to get that initial advantage in farm as well.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing fireworks from game 1, right? Just starting off with the Mai. Go strong, ensure that you're just setting the tempo and the pace of the game. But, you know, the Mayan and the Lady Soon both counter-picking in this one. Definitely burst potential. You have that control to kind of deal with what rival esports are looking to bring.
Yep, Silver, they pick up the Mayin and the Lady Sun. I think Lady Sun in the farm lane pretty much very strong, right? In advantage as well. Itemization wise, it will take a bit of work. So people who build like Doomsday, Shadow Reaper first might not be ideal if you want to match pace for pace, but that could be a late game strat as well, right? So this is something that I would like to see. What's in the mind of rival esports here?
Oh my gosh, look at this. The Ogren picked up, you have the Zhang Fei. Rival esports are looking to go very strong. The Dian Wei used in counter picking all of this. Look, if he can get going and ensure that, you know, Tadao is able to kind of farm up and just kind of deal with this, it's going to be a bit of a race in the jungle. But is it enough to kind of counter pick the Ogren? Your thoughts on that one, Kindo?
I think it might be a bit difficult because end of the day, you know, like if Do is really just going for a singular target, I mean, that's his kit anyway. The true damage is great. He does have the ability to kind of melt tanks down, but he can only do it one at a time, right? So this is where Rising Star and Zinger play an important part. Like, who is going to be the bait to kind of drive him in and hopefully allow Kenji or the rest of the lineup to really just destroy him.
I mean, but you kind of see how Rival want to play. They're going to use the Kachusens from the Mai, ensuring that you're kind of just, you know, setting, you know, maybe get a little bit of burst damage, do a little damage, make it a little uncomfortable, and then the Ogren kind of just sustain. He'll be the front liner, and then you have Rising Stars, the Zhang Feis, the Umbrella Outburst as the counter initiation. So that's roughly how the team fight would kind of, at least with these 3 picks, you're kind of seeing throughout. The other side, if you're looking at from Silver Team, I mean, the Dao is going to be up front. Right, he just wants to run at you. He wants to get on, and potentially, if he's able to jump on the Mai, obviously she's gonna have a tough time, but not the easiest to get on because she's so elusive.
Yeah, you know what? Right now, Silver Team, I think they have kind of figured out the formula. They want to protect JK if JK is going to be the farm laner, right? This Lady Sun is absolutely one of the main win conditions. And look, they pick up the Shi. I like this pick. It is both a defensive yet aggressive counter if they're going to pick it up. Looks like no, it might be the Shunpin. that slight delay, if he gets his time lapse down, is going to be quite effective against the likes of rival esports. Imagine not having your unbridled outburst at the correct timing, or even the path of passing to try and escape. Right? These are the situations that WH will be looking to create for the side of Silver Team as well.
So I like the Soon Bin pick here, right? It had a lot of success in Season 3. It had an 80% win rate with 5 games. It's the type where, again, you just have that extra mobility with that time flux to kind of get your guys in and out when they need to go, right? And then you kind of create these zones of denial, so to speak, and make it a little bit uncomfortable for them. So I like where Silver Team are kind of going with this. I think they've picked well thus far, but Rival Esports looking to go with the D-Ren-J and the Elaine to kind of round out their draft. Pretty solid draft though, right?
Yeah, so they're doubling down on that aggressive measure, right? So when they dive, they're going to dive all in. There is no pullback on that particular play itself, right? So the moment Rising Star jumps in, until the situation where Silver Team figures out how do they access Milo, I think it's going to be quite easy for Rival Esports to have a good time.
Yeah. Actually, looking at both of these lineups, normally I'm just like, hey, I have a clear favorite going into the draft. But this one is actually a bit of a mix for me. I kind of don't have a heavy favorite going into this one. I do like Rival Esports. I mean, just because you've got the Augment, right? I think that it is a power hero. I think you're going to do fine. But if Silver Team are able to kind of unlock the Dian Wei and just ensure that he outfarms the Augment, you're going to have a great time.
I think the positioning of the Yuan is going to be extremely important, right? So with the Tragic Beauty, with the Monfu Temple, those stuns coming in could really change the plane of the fight. Number two, you have the time flux. So that is a lot of rebate on the health loss, right, for the side of Silver Team. And that might be the difference maker in big fights. But this also comes down to the amount of farm they are able to get. So at this point, right, your lanes are so important, your camps are so important, that first steal is going to matter that much more.
Yeah, it's going to be important, right, going into this one. And I mean, we're going to have game 1 starting very soon. I love the fact that both of these teams are like, actually, we want game 1. We're going to pick some of our best heroes. Both squads, very meta, very, very strong. And it's going to be very interesting going into this one as we go into game 1 here.
Yep, so game number 1, this will set the tone for the match itself. Now, let's talk a bit about the farm lane first in terms of itemization. I think Milo, he needs to be able to keep his distance against WH, right? Every rolling raid is an additional chance to get extra damage onto Milo, and Milo cannot afford that because his itemization path is going to be a little bit longer in comparison to WH.
Yeah, but WH, I would say, has the edge in that lane, right? It's not like a huge dominant win, but you have that potential. Again, you're talking about the rolling raid. It being very strong and just be able to burst you down. Milo needs to be super careful. The positioning is going to be key for them. But looks like a little bit of a, a duel to the death, so to speak, in that top lane. Just a pillow fight, so to speak.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's more damage limitation coming out from Yu, right? He needs to make sure that Kenji does not get a blow up in terms of like gold as well as EXP, because if that happens, number 1, he's going to clear the lane much faster. Number 2, he will pose as a real threat to the backlines on the side of Silver Team as well.
Yeah, it might be tough, right, being able to get in there. But look, I like the way that they both have options for getting to that back line. I think that's going to be super important. Is Rising Star going to be caught out? Is Milo going to be in a bad spot? Like WH on the other end is a little bit more difficult in that sense. But, a little bit of a duel in the mid lane, not too much to kind of happen. Zinger is definitely not going to be killed at this point, especially with that Conductor of Souls. But again, they're just fighting for that whatever farm they can get at this point in the mid lane.
Yeah, but you can kind of see inklings of what's going to happen, right? Because that engage, actually, if Rival Esports committed, I don't think they win that outright. The time flux is so effective. So JS, I think, is definitely one of the big win conditions in the team fights. Let's see if he can achieve that same result.
Yeah, but he's not level 4 yet, so they can't really force anything at the moment. But I mean, he will level up very soon. But look at how Rival are trying to isolate, Yu. He's not able to farm as much. Kenji's still kind of up in that top lane, a little bit on the lower end. But the teleport is going to be used by Zinger, just kind of pushing it out. Again, you got to get Zinger going.
Yeah, definitely. They're kind of trying to funnel him as the main front line so that they will be able to force out errors from the side of Silver Team as well. But so far, no punish coming in on the side of Rival Esports. Because, look, WH, I think he has been pretty successful in getting all the last hits as well. And as the game goes on, you will see this advantage start to stretch bigger and bigger as well.
Yeah, for sure. it's you know, WH on that Lady Soon. Once you get like that critical mass, that late game, she's going to be an absolute monster, going to just blow people up. So positioning going to be key and ensuring that you're just able to do that. But we're going to go into a quick pause here. Your thoughts on the state of the game, especially since Milo has a level advantage over WH?
Okay, so let's go lane by lane, right? I want to start with the Clash lane first. Right now, Kenji has a very slight advantage against you because of the fact that they took that space right at the top, right? Unlocking that teleportation portal is big, but it's the EXP and gold that really matters to Kenji because that will allow him to itemize slightly quicker. And once he gets that Spark Port Jagger, he has a choice, right? Does he want to go for a full tank instead? And if that happens, he goes for the tanky build. He will then be able to pull attention away from Silver Team in the big fights. And this will cause a lot of chaos because this means Milo gets the free hit as well as Rising Star.
Yeah, I think that you want to pull stuff away. You want to attract attention away from Zinger, keep him alive. The Umbrella Outburst knocking on the 3. Nice one there. The Unending Snarl, but they have the Stampede, and they're going to get First Blood onto JK. A bit of a disaster because, again, you need to get JK going.
Yeah, it's a great start for the side of Rival Esports here. And look, they're not going to stop there. They're going to take a couple more camps. And as long as nobody else dies on the side of Rival, it's going to be a good, decent lead.
Yeah, you definitely want to get that lead. Any sort of edge at this point. But Kenji, he's taking a lot of damage. He's going to take a time bomb on his way out. But to answer your earlier question, I do think Kenji needs to be a little more on the tankier side. Attract attention. Whatever you can do so that Zinger isn't just focused. Yes, he can be a late game raid monster, raid boss monster, but he still needs somebody to kind of help support him and to take away some of that damage.
Yeah, now let's move on a little bit towards that mid lane. So, Dido against Rising Star. I think Dido might want to go for that aggressive build as well, right? I think they need a little bit more damage coming in from the side of Silver Team. Because look, JK, he might be a beast, but his damage is not enough. He can only deal singular damage.
Yeah, singular at this, I mean, but he just needs to get going, right? I think that just get him some kills if there's any potential way. You're kind of looking at which lane is the weakest so that he can potentially get some, you know, potential pickoffs. Kind of dictate some of the pace, especially in that laning phase. Rising Star is probably the squishier one, but she's kind of like, you know, Rising Star is going to be making moves across the map. It's going to be hard to really pin down.
Yeah, Rising Star is the bet for the side of Rival Esports, right? Because if they play their cards right, there's plenty of damage coming in from the side of Rival Esports. And as long as Zinger just stays safe, Hero will be able to save him with the leading savior as well.
Oh, Unbridled Outburst is going to be used yet again. He's just going to kind of stick around and keep it a little bit tanky, but Zinger getting a little bit low. Has to use the Conductor of Soul, but looks like Hero is going to be focused here. He's going to go down. Dao will take this one, but here comes Kenji, the Death at Sunset, and it just attracts attention, but not enough, and Zinger gets picked off. You finds it.
Oh, they finally get that advantage back to their sides, right? So gold, yes, not swinging in their favor just yet, but it will be very quickly because the fact of the matter is when Zinger is dead, look at the map control they have around the entire gotcha. And this, yeah.
No, I was going to say that just Zinger actually stuck around. He was a little on the low end, but he was continuing to farm the boars, and that was enough time for you to just be like, oh, okay, I'll just pick you off, and they were able to get the kill.
I mean, that's the benefit of the Mai Yin, right? She has great chase down, and if you take a look at the itemization, this is where the difference of items is going to show on the side of WH. He's trailing, but the damage output he offers right now is so much more effective, right? Eternity Blade, along with the Meteor, already has critical damage, along with armor pierce effects as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to help out for sure. You need to just kind of contribute at this point, but look at the net worth. Milo actually a slight edge over WH, doing very well, and kind of backed up by Hero, creating that space so that he can farm. You definitely want to get Milo going, give your team a real good chance in this game.
Yep, there's another thing that we're looking out for, and that's going to be the Venomous Staff, right? These are the items that will change the plane of the fight because there's a lot of sustain coming out from the side of Rival Esports, specifically Zinger, and maybe even Milo as well. So, same thing on the side of Rival Esports, they're looking to kind of dwindle the healing factors coming out from building.
It's 100% like the nice item to counter it, right? You got to slow down this Ogryn in some way. Is he able to get over the wall? Zinger actually takes it, gets the smite, and it looks like WH not able to get the kill on this one. Does a little bit of damage on that one, but through it all, Rival Esports get this steal, and they're continuing to push in this mid lane here.
Yep. a lot of potential. He tries to go for a catcher. I don't think that's the best decision at this point. Now, bear in mind, the strength of Rival Esports' draft is the fact that they're able to poke and prod, right? And this places a lot of emphasis on the timings on JS when he uses those time flags. He needs to make sure that there's value coming in from the health bar and mana regeneration reaping.
Yeah, but it's not the easiest thing to do. It's one of those things where, like, you don't want to cast it too early when the fight really hasn't started, because then Rival Esports would be like, hey, I'll just walk out of this, no harm, no foul, that kind of thing, right? So it's one of those things where you want the fight to go. Probably you want JK to kind of set up the fight, create a little bit of tension, but through it all, Rising Star going a little ham with that Shinobi, but not getting any kills.
Yeah, JS actually did a very good job, and that's a strength of having a Sun Bin in the draft, right? But here's the thing. We talked about Milo having that additional farm, and not only that, he has an additional level, so his EXP lead is making the difference so far in the exchanges.
Yeah, but look at Kenji waiting in the brush. He's looking for somebody to go out of position, but they've just shown too many from Rival Esports. Kenji's not able to find that right, pick off, that right angle to go in. Kenji will go back in the top lane. You will teleport in the bottom lane and ensure that you protect that tower. And you got to just kind of slow the game down at this stage.
Yep, and look, every spawn of the Zero Golem, Rival is here.
Yeah, they're not letting it go, and it looks like Hero is going to smite that one. The Umbrella Outburst pushing them away. They should be able to get scot-free, but JK is looking to fight this. He wants to go. He's a little angry, but he's not able to kind of control X-Hero. They don't have the damage to burst them down. Dao is a little on the low end, but through it all, it looks like both of the teams are going to disengage it.
Yeah, they have to lick their wounds at this point, right? I think it was a premature unleashing of the beast at this point, the side of Revival, and it could have turned really badly for the side of Rival Esports. But at this point, Zinger secures their first timer of the game for their side, and I think with this buff, it should allow them a little bit more map control. I mean, they already have a T1 taken on the ball.
Yeah, actually things are looking in favor of Rival Esports. I know the net worth is a little on the low end, but taking that Tyrant was huge. JK looking to go in for this one. You looking for that control. Gets serious on the Zinger, but not enough damage. It looks like they're going to back off and realize, hey, actually, we can't take the fight. We don't have the burst, but they're potentially going for Rising Star. Rising Star will just shrug that time bomb off.
Oh, very aggressive movement here from Kenji. Now, one of the reasons why they couldn't take that fight was because WH had to get the farm in. There was no Lady Sun in that fight, and that's why there's a lack of damage. And at this point, look at the growth for the items. 6,500 for the side of WH, and it's looking a little bit healthier, but Milo is just a tad bit further ahead.
Yeah, a little bit further. I mean, you're going to have to figure out a way to kind of deal with, I would say, JK and WH when that fight happens. Just take out all that damage, control it. But again, like you were saying, clockwork. Whenever that blue buff is up, they take it yet again. Rival Esports making moves and forcing Silver Team to kind of, again, react to what they've been thrown at them.
Too tolerant, right, at this point, but you can't blame them because the T1 is being threatened.
Oh, bro, just connecting on the unending sorrow. JK is not as lucky. He's going to be killed, and it looks like Yu wants to go in for this one, but not able to get the kill on this. He dies as well. It's a 2 for nothing, and 2 for 1, excuse me. Hero did die in the end.
Yep, it's not the best situation for the side of Silver Team. Look, consolation prize in the form of a roam, not that great, right? And here's something interesting that I see. JS actually builds the Star Spring. Now, is that the best item on the roam kit for your team? Because I don't think the heal value is going to be that much of a difference.
Yeah, there's just a lot of burst so that the healing potential, I mean, you have Dao, who could potentially get that healing, but you're kind of all in on him to get that healing and sustain. I don't really know if that's enough, especially when you're going up against Zinger, who can potentially burst you and out-sustain you.
Yeah, and take a look at the advantage they have, right? Now they can take even 3v4 fights on the side of Rival Esports and allow Kenji to go for the split push. He's getting punished right now. I think he should be able to make it out.
Oh no, JK found him, but the Moonlight Flash not enough distance. JK gets the kill. Kenji playing with a little bit of a risky play. He did get caught out. He tried to Death at Sunset, but not able to get away.
I think it's okay. It's a decent trade, right? While it's a minor mistake from the side of Kenji, I think he did his job because look, now they take the T2 for free and nobody had to be there. They just needed to clear the lane. And at the same time, they're able to kind of deter Silver Team from coming in for that Overlord. They have to take a fight if they want to.
I mean, it looks like they're going to take the fight now. I mean, Kenji's going to be up in about 5 seconds, but Zinger is sticking around. Something to take note of. The Overlord already at half-life. JK still up in front. He's going to kind of be scurried away. The Overlord getting in on the action as well. Zinger getting focused here, looking to turn this. The Conductor of Souls get that damage. They kill JK. The Overlord now on the low end. Who's going to get this pick off the Umbrella Outburst? Dow gets the steal, and it looks like Silver Team on the run. Yes, you have Umbrella Outburst, the Ferrari form, but not enough to get the kill, or not enough sort of control, and that's going to be the end of that one.
Lapse of concentration coming out from Rival Esports. They did well in the team fights, but just as the smite was cooled down, they just managed to miss that timing on the side of Rival Esports. And this is a small moment for the side of Silver Team. Let's see if they can kind of convert it into something bigger.
Yo, look, I don't want to point fingers, but I'm kind of thinking like, I mean, Zinger, you had your smite, like, I mean, you gotta be faster fingers on that, right? Like, it might have been misplay there? No?
It might have been like a 0.5 second cooldown. We don't know, because on my screen, it looks like he had it, right? But at this point, they still have a decent map advantage, but not enough damage for sure.
Yeah, oh, looks like a hero is going to get focused in. He's getting stun locked. He's going to be killed, and they've gotten Milo as well. They got a 2-for-0 special, and it looks like Silver Team are looking to turn this game around. The Shadow Vanguard is going to be pushing the top lane, slowing that one down. Now Silver Team need to turn this into at least a mid T1.
Yeah, they disagree with the fact that I was saying that they don't have enough damage. One of the things that happened was the fact that actually, because Hero didn't have his passive, he could not unleash the beast there. And right now, they're managing to swing things, but they need this T1 in the mid to make a successful push.
Yeah, this would be huge. It looks like, oh, they've got the knockdown. No, like the Death at Sunset connecting on a 2, but he's taking a lot of damage in return. Oh, the stun lock is unreal. Kenji gets picked off. They were able to get it, and they get the T1. This game has completely turned on its head.
Yep, they have to be really careful on the side of Rival Esports, right? There is no backline access. Kenji is dead, so they have to fight face to face right now.
Yeah, especially with those numbers. That's not where you want to be. How are you going to deal with this team that's death-balling you? JK is up front, being in that menace. It's so difficult to get up on him. The only problem with Silver Team's push right now is the lack of minions and where it is in that mid lane right now.
Yep, and see the benefit of having a Lady Soon, right? The rolling raids gets free hits onto that turret itself. You will be able to get quite a lot of healthy damage without putting yourself at risk.
I mean, look at Silver Team. The only thing they didn't get was that mid T2. It looks like they're going to focus their attention on it now. But with all 5 members of Rival Esports up, okay, that all T2s are down at this point. Silver Team right now in the driver's seat, forcing it back. And Rival Esports now on the defensive. How do they react to this?
It's difficult, right? Because right now, look, the map is much more red than it is blue. And that was achieved in a span of, what, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes? Simply because Rival Esports took fights that they shouldn't have at that point. They were just too aggressive in their positioning. Standing in the jungle of Silver Team, not a good idea, especially when you don't have big ultimates.
Yeah, you don't have much. And it looks like Silver Team right now doing a good job of zoning. They want to get this Shadow, this Dragon right here, Tyrant, excuse me, gonna be killed, gonna be picked off on this one. Now Zinger on the run. They're gonna find Hero. They do have the knockup, but they have the damage. JK not enough to kind of burn him down. Dow gets a little on the low end. It looks like Silver Team will back off.
Okay, so there is a silver lining for the side of Rival Esports, right? Look, JK, I think he's able to deal quite a healthy amount of damage, but he's not as tanky as I think Silver Team would like him to be.
Yeah, okay. I mean, they're backing off now. They want to kind of just slow the pace of this game down a bit. But look at WH. He's up in terms of, he's the highest in terms of net worth. He's doing some serious damage. He's 302. Very scary if they're able to catch you out. And it looks like they want to go. Rising Star trying to go in, but he gets bursted down. A little bit of a misplay there. Now Zinger looking to just turn this, and he's going to look to just kind of fall. Hero has been killed. The Death at Sunset. Yes, it'll connect on the 4, but do they have the damage? The Conductor of Souls now being used. The double kill by JK. They're turning this around. They've gotten Milo, and it looks like they've got a team ace. Silver Team looking to crock this T3 mid, but again, they don't have the minions.
Doesn't matter at this point. WH is just too strong, right? They played the player, not the game here. Very smart understanding of how they're supposed to take the fights here. WH was always just shy, out of the reach of Zinger, and Zinger had to go for it. He was too close not to ignore.
Yeah, and it looks like Silver Team are going to take game 1. What a comeback by this team, and just showing that resolve and understanding how to play the late game, ensuring that they're able to do it. Very well played by Silver Team there.
Yep, and this definitely calms the nerves, right? I mean, look, you had a Lady Soon pick, you had the Dianwei pick as well. And this is against a lineup that had the Ogren. This is a lineup that had the Elaine. Easy access into the backlines, right? Very strong frontline tank as well. And now that is out of the picture for the side of rival esports. So that was a gut-wrenching blow to them in terms of the strategy for the banners and picks as we go on in this series of the best of 5.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if rival esports are like, hey, this is probably one of our best drafts. They got the Mai that they wanted, they got the Ogren, and you're kind of thinking, this is looking to be what we wanted going in. But man, the counterplay, and being able to just kind of stick through it. I mean, they were like losing a little bit, Silver Team, but finding ways to come back into the game shows just how this team is ready. I mean, that resolve is unreal.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people give flack to some Bin players, but this performance by JS, just phenomenal, right? Take a look at the itemization, just went for the full tank standard, right? The Star Spring, to be honest, I didn't see too much value in that. That might have been a situation where they could just re-engage after fights, right? They take a huge hit in terms of HP, and they will be able to re-engage in a very quick frame of time. Now, bear in mind, there was a lot of sustain and a lot of catch coming in, right? Yuri on that Mayin was doing so well in making sure that the backline, Milo and Hero, were not having a good time at all.
Yeah, not really having a good time. I mean, they kind of got caught out a couple times. Milo and Hero, they were like, you know, again, they're lane buddies. They were riding together, dying together, but they were doing too much dying, right? 4 times. Hero was kind of caught out a couple too many times. Milo twice on that one, just not having the greatest of time. If you're looking at the other end, WH and JS, both of those guys didn't die a single time, but JS was the MVP. Are you okay with that, Kindle?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I played a Roam as a main role, right? So I really love that we get to highlight JS in this point. But if you take a look at the overall itemization on the side of Silver Team, they played truly to their strengths, which was playing off of JS's Time Flux, right? So sure, you lose a little bit of life. The Time Flux gives you that rebate on health. And if you take a look at the itemization by Yu and JK, they had the Eye of the Phoenix, they had the Long Night Guardian as well. Everything that recovers actual health, which means Zinger didn't have the best strength.
Yeah, he wasn't able to kind of get going. I mean, this is the damage dealt and taken, of course. But you're kind of seeing Rising Star trying to do as much as possible. He had 110,000, which is actually the most across both teams, doing as much as he can. But Zinger, on the other hand, 62,000. You don't really want to see your Ogren kind of on that lower end, so to speak, just not able to really get going.
Yeah, they didn't successfully split them up, right? I think one of the weaknesses on the side of Silver Team is if you were able to split the team up. And no matter what happened, no matter what kind of blows rival esports threw onto Silver Team, JS always stuck with the team. They huddle up as 5, making full use and efficiency of the time flex, and also then allowing the time lapse to really be a menace to the side of rival esports, because there was no comeback. When the heals were supposed to come, they didn't come. When the ultimates was supposed to land, it didn't happen as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, they didn't seem like they were on the same page once that mid to late game was starting to happen. They were kind of, you know, taking haphazard fights. They were kind of isolated at times, but Silver Team really made them pay. They were sticking together, understanding the strengths of how this draft is going to work, and they were able to deathball them, and they were kind of able to close them out, excuse me. But JS, in my opinion, did a great job of just ensuring that distance, that arm's reach that you want from the enemy was always in their favor, like at any moment, even with those ultimates on cooldown and all that. Just the timing and the play, very well played by JS.
Yeah, and also we need to highlight WH, right? I think, of course, we all know the farm lane makes the difference in the games, especially being the one that lays the damage, but the positioning of WH in this game is pretty clean. It's slick as well, right? He is always within reach of Zinger, and as the jungler, the frontliner with the Seer State, the instant kill, you know that you want to get the health bars on the side of this Lady Sun down, but he could never touch him. He was just probably a finger's length away.
Yeah, and this is why the Lady Soon is just so strong, right? I mean, you have that mobility, you have that damage, and then you just, like, really good players are going to be so hard to kind of lock down. And it really, if you're kind of thinking about what Rival Esports did, they didn't really have a way. Yes, you had the lane, but it wasn't really enough to get onto, you know, WH and to kind of burst him down or to, like, control him in some fashion. They were just kind of caught off guard by that, I would say.
Yep, and I think in terms of synergy, the Unbridled Outburst was used, I think, at appropriate times, but there never was a follow-up, right? It can be used in two ways. Number one, it can be an aggressive tool where you kind of push them all into one sector, and this is going to be beautiful for Rising Star. He gets the Kachos and the uppercuts, the full range of combinations as well, and at the same time, Conductor of Souls can be paired with it as well. But I think there were a couple of moments that the Unbridled Outburst was used, but there was no after effects, you know? There was no punishment that came after the stuns came in.
Yeah. And to be honest, okay, look, I don't mean to compare with like some of the the season 3 champions that we saw with like the Wendy or the, Illusions on the Mai, but the playstyles were very different. Let's just be very honest with that, right? In the sense that like Rising Star probably needed to make more of an impact in the other lane, kind of forcing it out, getting a sort of a pick off or making sure that you win those lanes. Like his presence wasn't really been able to push those other lanes. He kind of played a little bit more passively, looking for whatever scraps he could find, so to speak, and he wasn't able to play the Mai to the maximum potential.
Yep, it's a struggle of the kit, right? So in terms of wave clear, definitely Yuhuan does much better in the wave clear department compared to Mai. In order to clear it, you use your Kachosens, you get your Ryu engine. Great, you clear the lane, maybe slightly slower, but you have no options for the fights after that, right? You have to use your passive, you have to use your basic attacks, and by then, Yuhuan already has the skills off cooldown, and you're probably going to get stunned and, a lot of health loss in that particular aspect. But that's all for game number 1. Let's go into game number 2 in this best of 5 and see if Rival Esports can come up with an even better draft.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rival Esports, their draft was good, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to undersell that. I think that going into this one, I thought that there was a lot of potential. It was just that Silver Team were able to outplay them on this one. But look, global ban pick. Unfortunately for them, their best heroes, quote unquote, are not going to be available on this one. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to this. I think the biggest thing for this team, though, Rival Esports, is that, hey, you got punched in the face. How are you going to respond?
Yeah, I think at this point, right, with the ban on the Liang and specifically for Silver Team, this also opens up potentials for very dive-heavy heroes. Like, sure, a lane is one of the considerations, but I'm thinking of a different direction, right? Why not go for the Jing? Why not go for the Pei? Big, huge burst, assassin-style heroes. I think based on the playstyle on the side of Silver Team, they can definitely pull that off.
Yeah, the potential is there. Getting into this one, I think being the high-flying assassin type where you're able to burst it, I think it also comes down to what the enemy's picking as well. Because if they're more on the tankier side, you might not have that potential, that juicy target, so to speak. But here's a juicy target, not the easiest to take out, especially with that dragon, but the Loom.
Okay, Dragon Meat, right? WH did not give them a taste of his flesh in game number 1, and with the Long pick, I think it's going to be even more difficult at this point. Now, Kenji, they're going to reply with the secure tease. I don't think that might be the pick they might go for, but yeah, Dharma, I think, is a great idea.
Okay. The Dharma was the #1 most picked in Season 3. Hotly contested, so much control, the potential just to like take over a team fight with that truth is unreal, but kind of backing it up with this Mulberry Power Secure, the potential of the 1-2 combination, nice little first 2 picks here by Rival.
Yep, a more aggressive draft coming out from Silver Team, right? And I think Rival Esports, at this point, they're looking more for the counter play. Initiation-wise, I think they would do very well. Hero taking up this secure, based on how he has been playing the Zhang Fei, I think we will get to see the more aggressive setups coming up from the side of Rival, and maybe that might make the difference. But JK taking up this Dun is definitely going to spoil the plans. He's going to be super tanky.
Yeah, this is a little combination, the Dune and the Dia, the double D combination. What's better than double Ds? I don't really know. But these are 2 good heroes that are just able to kind of control it. Dia, very strong as a roamer, the potential, the control, the heal, basically everything that you want, especially with the Dune who's going to be going in and out. I love this. I love this little combination that they got.
Yep, and Rising Star, they pick up the Yuhuan this time, looking for the heals, right? So there is a lot of sustain and counterplay available to the Rival side. Let's see what kind of bans they want to go with, because right now, I think the mid lane and the clash lane are going to be super important. What do you want to put up against a Dharma? That's the #1 question that Rival has to kind of answer now. And Byron is definitely one of the core considerations here.
Yeah, definitely one of them. I mean, they're just like, yeah, they're going to protect that top lane, right? Ensure that Kenji has the best game possible on this Dharma, controlling it out. But the Hou Yi ban there, that's an interesting one to me. I don't think that this guy's really a top tier farm laner, but it looks like they're more to kind of set themselves up for something later in this draft.
Okay, one of the reasons why this Hou Yi is banned is also it benefits off of the kit on the side of Kenji as well as Zinger, right? So if they get the Mulberry power down, the slam down, they get the Truth Mantra, essentially it just means you have free hits, right? And I think one of the main heroes that is able to deal multiple damage to multiple targets at the same time is a Hou Yi, right? Late game, you don't want that situation to happen. And Silver Team understands it will happen. There's no way you consistently avoid being caught out by a Dharma.
Yeah. I mean, it's like vision is going to be more important than anything else, right? You just got to make sure that your spacing is good. You're not like completely sticking together, all 5 of you guys, like in one little area. You got to ensure that you have that space until you know where Kenji is, and that vision is going to be key. And so this is kind of where you want JK to be out front, that frontliner, just kind of providing that vision. Also with Dao, who's also kind of, JS, who's going to be running the Dia, ensuring that he can just kind of hop back onto his teammate if he needs to, but it's all going to be about vision in this one.
Okay, Milo here, I think the console Yu will be a much better pick in comparison, right? One of the interactions that we'll see is that WH definitely is, whoa, hang on. Okay, WH is definitely going into riding the wind, right? He's going to stop the aggression coming out from Milo, and if he gets his positioning right, it's going to be a very painful experience for Milo, which also at the same time makes the lane prio so important for this farm lane.
Oh, look at this. The Elaine and the Yixing kind of rounding out their draft. Silver Team's draft, to me, looking solid already. Okay. Is this... it looks like they're locked in here? The Lady Soon? Okay. Yeah. I was like, Hero, what is he doing? He's just playing with my mind. But it looks like they're thinking about the Musashi on this one. Is that enough to deal with the Dune, JK? Oh, it looks like me.
I think they need, so at this point, they need a little bit more tankiness. We have seen the weaknesses of high damage drafts, right? They don't have a tank. So example, if let's say the Yuhuan dies or the Dharma dies, they have no more damage to offer, rather aside from Milo. At the same time, there's no more protection. Milo is dead meat.
Yeah. And actually, that's kind of my worry in this draft, right? You have a lot of sustain, you're able to kind of have that control, but it really comes back to Milo. If Silver Team find Milo and they're able to just blow him up, it's like, okay, yeah, you have the tankiness and the control all for days, you don't actually have the damage to pay off on that one.
Yep, quite a bit of responsibility difference on both teams, right? So I think on the side of Rival, it's looking more like Kenji has a very important role. So as long as Milo doesn't die, there is always a potential for comeback, right? At the same time, it also, let's flip sides, we go over the Silver Team. I think JS plays a very important part, as well as WH, because if JS is able to get the Bitter Farewell onto the appropriate targets, maybe even, let's say, Rising Star with the Yuhuan, right? They stop that Unending Sorrow with the heals. Oh, that's going to be a big change in fights because they won't be able to survive the burst.
Yeah, and it's going to really come down to that, right? Is he able to just find that right target? Is he able to kind of get that burst? Because again, Rival Esports, so much control, so much stun lock, but are they able to kind of lock it in? Because if you're looking at Silver Team, you have your Death at Sunset, you can get out of jail free, you have your Infinite Vastness on WH, you have ways to get out. So it really comes back to how the team fights, how the stuns are going to be stacked on top of one another.
Yeah, and if you can't find WH in the fights early on, I think it's going to be a horrible situation for the side of Rival.
Yeah, you might have a tough time here, but okay. You know the drafts, who do you give the edge to in this one?
I think once again, in terms of lanes, I actually would give it to the side of Silver Team, right? I think they have potential to get the win here, but look, they don't want to listen to my commentary. They keep disagreeing with me.
Well, okay. Well, who wants to listen to your commentary? I mean, like, no, I'm just kidding. But going into this, I mean, look, I do think that the Silver Team draft is much easier to play. I think that they're going to have, again, too much is at stake for the execution on this Rival Esports lineup. If they're able to do it, props to them. But I find it's kind of like an uphill battle and ensuring that the stars are aligning perfectly so you're able to win those team fights.
Yeah, I think at this point, positioning is so important for both teams because if anyone is out of position and opponent members like WH or Milo, if they step out of their comfort zone and get punished, it does change the way that the fight is going to be taken.
Yeah, I mean, look, everything is going to go down to... I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the JS and Hero and setting these fights up, ensuring that they have that proper control. And of course, Kenji, because he can, you know, a Dharma is always scary on the map at any point, and it can control, you know, all the teammates.
Yeah, and this base fight going to be contested at this point. I don't think they really want to commit for...
Oh, look at this. Esports, the power, they have the connection, they do have the damage, and Yu's going to be going down. That's going to be first blood. Dao is going to be probably left for dead. He's stuck in 4 members. Golden or not, it doesn't matter. Zinger, he's going to pick that one up. It's a 2 for nothing.
Oh, that's a big start. Once again, Rival, they get a decent start to the game, right? How well can they play their winning cards?
Oh, who gets that one? It looks like JK just barely able to get it. Mind you, his smite was on cooldown, so that was a much closer than it should have been. But Kenji harassing in the enemy jungle as well.
Yep, and bear in mind, he now has a taste of getting that perfect cruise mantra down, right? He used it, got the double kill for the team here. It's a 1,000 goal lead, and I think it's funneled into the correct members as well. Even if it goes into Kenji or Zinger, I think that's a huge advantage for them.
Yeah, huge advantage. I mean, look, it's 1K, it's still like not even 3 minutes in. The game isn't over or anything like that, but that was a huge a gank in that top lane. A Silver team completely caught off guard. They did not expect that one, and losing 2 members pretty big for them, especially at this stage of the game. But now this 4-minute mark, which is kind of what they're kind of alluding to here with this push by JK with those big neutrals like the Tyrant going to be up, something to take note of. JK looking to kind of put a little bit of aggression down.
Yeah, they need to make sure that they have the appropriate positioning for this first big moment of the game, right? 4 minutes is normally where the advantages will swing quite heavily to one side.
Yeah, and definitely, like, look, Team Rival still up. Rival Esports, that is. They're doing fine. Like, just gotta kind of take what you can. I mean, you've got those 2 kills, but how do you kind of compound that and turn that into a much bigger lead? And you gotta let Zinger get as much farm as possible. I think he's gonna help you out quite a bit.
Yeah, as long as he fulfills his role of being that front sponge, right? Soaking in all the damage and getting all the ultimates out. I think this will be a successful take from the side of Rival Esports.
Yeah, Tyrant about half-life. Zinger does have the smite he wants to go, and it doesn't look like he's going to pick this one off. They do have the connection. They've gotten JS, and Hero just barely, no, he gets picked off. Dow finds him with that one last single shot. The Taking Liberties gets Rising Star in return, so it's going to be a 2 for 1, but just JS is down, and through it all, wow, just even more damage. JK limping away.
Yeah, not a beautiful situation for them. They did lose that Tyrant over to the side of Rival, but they did trade a couple of kills, right? They got Hero, they got Rising Star. Not the best targets that you want if you get to choose, but nonetheless, right, going into the goal lead, they have evened out their goal deficit, so that's something that they can kind of play off of as well.
Yeah, so I mean, look, they're going to have to figure out a better way to kind of take that fight. I think that was one where, you know, Rival were being aggressive. They were trying to force things out, but Silver Team being able to just find that right target, ensuring that they were able to get that kill. But through it all, WH getting a little bit low, needs to be super careful. He does not have infinite fastness. This is scary.
Yep, and right now I think Rival once again showcasing they can play the map just a little bit better compared to Silver Team, right? Kenji now free reign on the T1 on the top, opens up that access. So now this is going to be very difficult for Yu as well, right? This lane, he's going to have trouble keeping pace because as long as Kenji dives a little bit deeper to clear those initial waves, he's going to have the rotation and probably put Silver Team in a 4v5 situation.
I mean, look, the top T1 has already been taken out. Kenji already has a bit of an avenue into base. He's going to teleport into the mid lane and just kind of force it back. But you, again, you were talking about how he needs to keep up with Kenji. Not the easiest thing to have done, but he's going to be sticking around in that top lane. He might even give up farm to JK here, who's rotating.
Yeah, right now it's really about putting pressure across the map, right? And so far, based on the kits offered, Rival, I think they have just a little bit more a better team fight capacity compared to Silver Team at this point.
Yeah, they definitely have better potential at this point. The Wind Slash a little off the mark. Hero looking to go with the Mulberry Power. He finds JK, but that's pretty much it. The Taking Liberties actually finds Milo, who flashes away, gets to safety. That was actually very close.
Yep, a little aggressive on the positioning, right? So he has to trade out his flash at this moment. The saving grace is, look, there's no fight to be had at this point, right? And Milo still successfully funneling farm into his inventory, so he is going to be quite the beast. He does have a level advantage against WH, so that's good news for the side of Rival.
Yeah, you're going to need whatever advantage you can get. Look, Hero sticking around, the Unending Sorrow dodging most of that, but he's going to get Unruly Bladed on. He gets picked off. JK finds the Wind Slash onto Zinger, but don't really want to follow up on that. But they've already got the pick off onto Rising Star. Great pick off for Silver Team.
Yeah, this is why it's so important to be able to land your skills, right? Hero did not hit the mark with that Mulberry power as well. The stuns matter so much because Rival Esports, they need that consistent CC to make their competition work. And anytime someone misses, it's going to cost them the fight.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, right? Just you need that setup. You need that for control so that the rest of them can do their damage. And again, if we're looking at Rival Esports, Milo, this is the guy that must stay alive. He cannot be killed. He needs to ensure that he stays alive because he's most of the damage on that team.
Yep, the situation now is that Milo tends to stand in the middle of the team during the team fights, which I think I can understand why, right? He wants to be within range of the Unending Sorrow coming out from Rising Star. He wants to be able to get the heals from Hero as well. But at the same time, it puts you at this very prominent position where his Death at Sunset has so much efficiency as well. And though, with the Yixing, the ball suddenly becomes that much more painful.
Yeah, if he's able to kind of connect it. They haven't really been able to set that one up for like the perfect, team fight as of yet, but the potential for that is going to be there. And again, you kind of saw what Silver Team were doing. They were potentially going for that gank into that mid lane, but they were just like, hey, we're just not ready. JK's not in position. We're not able to kind of initiate on this one. So Silver Team playing a little bit more on the defensive side. They've been playing a little bit scared. They want to get JK as much farm as possible before they go because he's just really not that tanky enough.
Yeah, he's actually the same level as Milo at this point, which is not the best news, right? He needs to be a level ahead at least. So right now, let's see how this test goes with him.
Oh, this is scary. The Tyrant here, the Wind Slash. They're going to go for the Dream Roll, but WH already takes the Tyrant. They've got the Destined encountered on this one, but through it all, Hero's going to be backing off. He's about half life. No one actually dies, though.
Yeah, but it's a perfect situation for the side of Silver Team, right? They don't want to overextend, and they want to get those free kills if it's possible.
Yeah, if it's possible to get that pick off, JK he does have those Wind Slashes. They are connecting, but they just don't have the follow-up damage. I mean, with that, Dow's taking liberties has been on point in terms of control, but WH just needs a little bit more time. He's not able to kind of get that burst potential damage with that Flaming Palm style just as of yet.
Yeah, but one concern I have for Rival is that they're unable to kind of force out the Infinite passes from WH, right? They need to be able to force out that resource. That would be a much better fight.
I don't really play. JK looking to go for this one. They're taking liberties a little off the mark. They find the Wind Slash, but the Dream Roam. Zinger trying to get away. They do have the Death at Sunset on top of them, and they do get the pick off. Zinger's going to be killed on this one. So that's a good win for Silver Team thus far.
Getting a kill, great, but look at the map, right? So Rival, Kenji understood that, hey, this guy, our jungler, he's gonna die, right? So Zinger has definitely told the team, we make the trade. And a T2 for his life, we'll take it any day. Rival doing very well to maintain their advantage.
Yeah, really good. I mean, you're gonna trade Zinger for T2 any day of the week, especially since it opens it up. I mean, it's not even 10 minutes in. Putting that pressure in is going to be quite key for him. But look at Rising Star taking a lot of damage from JK. Oh, looks like he just goes immune. He goes golden. He stays alive. And he has the Heartlink to just continue on, but Kenji now getting turned on. The Wind Slash is great, and JK's gonna get the pick off. He comes in like a savior. Now you looking to go for this Death at Sunset. He finds him on the side. It's a nice little cubby hole, but not enough. JK getting a little low. It's too much. Milo gets the pick off, shuts him down. Now Yu's looking to get going up. That's a double go in the way of Milo.
Oh, both teams overcommitting, and it's the farm laners that have made the big difference in this fight, right? So Milo and WH playing their best so far, getting the kills, and once again, it's almost even Stevens at this point.
Look, if Silver Team is not able to find Milo and not able to just focus and prioritize him right away, they should really not be taking that fight. Anytime he's left alive, everyone else is just bait. I mean, yeah, you want them to go on the Zinger. You want them to steal. No, with crucial kill theft gets the Tyrant. Oh, I did totally cut that one off guard.
Look, he didn't just steal it with a basic attack. He stole it with the stone. Can you imagine killing a dragon with a stone? My goodness.
I mean, the stone. You know, David and Goliath, right? That's kind of how it does. He was able to get that right last shot. Dow with that nice little snipe. Oh, but they're going to go in for this one. JS, they Milo, they get the pick up, but WH dies in return. He gets something.
And Doe, I mean, he just doing so much work for the side of Silver Team. Are we going to see a repeat of game number 1? I mean, rival map control definitely still very much in their favor, but the fights are not looking good. Silver Team 2,000 ahead.
Yeah, way too much at this point. I mean, you cannot take a fight as Rival Esports. Milo's down for 10 seconds. Really, you have to give up whatever ground and just kind of force them back, potentially push them. But through it all, you really cannot fight. Milo's got to be up. You need his damage. And I mean, yeah, he traded with WH. It was a nice little fight in that sense. But through it all, Silver Team, they have damage. They have other options.
Yeah, JK is able to tank quite a bit at this point. Level 14 does have the level advantage against Zinger as well. Now, he's going to be able to soak up damage at the same time. Vision.
Okay, oh, the Wind Slash was legit, but he Unruly Blades back. The board had been used more to zone them out. The Unending Sorrow has been used as well. JK still up in front. And through it all, a lot of ults expended, but again, just no real follow-up or damage at this point.
The game sense is just a little bit better on the side of Silver Team, right? They understood that, look, Kenji might be hiding in the bush. They did not have vision of him. They did not go near to that brush at any point of time.
Yeah, not enough at this point. But through it all, they've got the Overlord. Rival Esports finding ways to get back in. They're down about 3K. They did make a comeback in game 1, so are they able to do it a second time? Might be a tall order for them, especially since, okay, it looks like Rival Esports looking to go for this one. Dow getting focused in, just barely surviving.
Yeah, every time he has his passive up, Doe is just going to be quite the menace, right? The maintaining initiative essentially is open on.
JK, oh, he gets Mulberry Power though, but he's gonna take a little bit of damage, but you still continuing to go. He wants to fight for this one, but Zinger trying to deal with him, and he actually scurries him away. They're taking liberties just to zone them away. Rival Esports still up, looking to push, but they do have the Vanguard, the Flaming Palm eaten by Rising Stars. They're taking liberties, gonna be throwing them up with the T2 mid taken out.
They have to back off now, right? They don't need to be over aggressive. The board is up for the side of Doe, so they need to be very careful on the side of Rival. Just take what you can, right? Take a couple of T2s and maybe put some licks in for the T3s and get out.
Look at this. No T2s available by Silver Team. Now the things have kind of changed. The net worth is still in favor of them, but it feels like Silver Team are behind. They need to figure out a way to get back in. The top T3 has been taken out. The Vanguard looking to just get bursted, and JK deals with it. But through it all, with that top T3, now you got some holes in your base.
Okay, so Rival, they definitely learned their lesson from game 1. They, hang on, they forced out the Death of Sunset.
Yeah, they forced it out, but through it all, they're just going to zone it away. They're going to take the red buff away. Rival Esports, they want to play a little bit safer. They do not want to kind of, make the same mistakes they made in game 1. They're going to play a little bit slowly, force it down, and just kind of, play the slow and long game and just kind of choking them out, so to speak.
Actually, if they could, this is one of the best moments to take a fight, right? The moment JS does not have his ultimate, the moment Ryu does not have his ultimate, I think the counterplay initiative on the side of Silver Team is not apparent, right? So at this point, now cooldowns are down, they secure the Shadow Tyrant for themselves, they are ready to fight once again. And at this point, the gold difference doesn't matter that much anymore. It's a couple hundred away. Rival definitely able to close the game if they play their cards right now.
It's so weird because the full map control has gone Rival's way, but the net worth is still in favor of Silver Team. So they're still finding ways to kind of get that farm. Obviously, that lead will start to dwindle as a Silver Team kind of huddle in their base at this point. But if they were able to find a pickoff, that would be key. And maybe you find out Hero who's kind of all by himself on that front line, but he can kind of get away with that ride the win. It's tough to catch all of these guys from Rival.
Yeah, right now, I think the telling sign of the fight is whether Rival can, bait out certain ultimates, right? Get rid of the resources on the side of Silver Team.
We're gonna have to figure things out, but it looks like Kenji gonna force it down on that bottom T3. The mid T3 has already been taken out. The board had been used as well. They find JK. They're looking to burst him, do the damage, and they do. Oh my god! Oh, but the truck setting it up. WH is gonna be killed. 3 members already down, and they want to go for more. Yu's running for his life. JS is trying to get to the fountain. Not able to do it. Yu and JS do it down, and that's gonna be a team ace. And Rival Esports bounce back. All they need are these super minions, which will be pushing. And of course, it looks like Rival Esports will take Game 2.
Oh, we have a game on our hands, man. I mean, this is a spectacular performance by the side of Rival Esports, and I have to give commendations. Milo, his positioning in this fight, so beautiful. That's what you want from a Lady Sun as well. So far out of reach, they had to stretch, and the moment they stretched out their arms, they got slapped on their wrist. So beautiful gameplay by Rival.
Really well played. I mean, Milo, like, more props to him, right? Let's sing his praises, because he was on point, just being able to do all that damage. He was just be able to, again, kite them out, stay alive, do that damage, and just let this team, this death ball, where, again, it's really hard to find a good target on this team to kind of kill, and Silver Team really had no answers.
Yeah, and we talked about Kenji being one of the more important members on the side of Rival. And boy, did he show up. That last truth, oh, your ex didn't love you. Oh, that was so painful, right? He caught them twice.
Okay, that was a little personal or something. I'm not entirely sure about that one, but it was a nice play, a really good, truth, just setting it up, right? I think it was actually huge for him, ensuring that he's able to kind of control it. Really good team fights. This is what you want to see. And I mean, if we're looking at the post game, I mean, for me, the biggest one is, of course, Milo. He's 5-1-4, but, Hero was setting things up as well. I got to give props where props are due. Hero really, with those mulberry powers, were quite on key.
Yeah. Also, we need to talk about Rising Star. I think, yes, he died twice, didn't get any kills. But Rising Star, his setups with the Mournful Temple along with the Tragic Beauty, the stuns. That was what kind of forced Silver Team into very awkward positions where they were kind of deciding, do we take this fight? Do we run? And any moment of indecisiveness, they knew they could go for it. But we also have to highlight, I think that entire situation happened because Doe actually missed his board. At that moment where the board was laid down, Rival knew there was no counterplay available. They just went in.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It kind of felt like Dao, he didn't really have the best of boards. It seemed like they were kind of like, they were put out, and like Rival Esports were just like able to deftly maneuver around it. It was really a non-factor for him.
Yeah, and the moment that the issue was that JK was the one that's being caught, and when JK is down, there's no tank. And yes, you can have all the heals, the Destined Encounter coming up from JS, but it doesn't matter because you will not have the life points to survive an MVP performance by Milo. 105,000 damage. That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Like, actually, he was so good, right? Just his control, like, the damage is crazy, and the fact that he was just able to stay alive. I mean, he only died a single time, and he traded with WH, just complete value throughout, easy MVP. But if we're talking about Silver Team, though, like, who do you think was, like, the guy that really, I mean, JK had a great game, but was he your MVP in that one?
I think at this point, it might have been maybe the lane. Yeah, maybe Yu was my MVP on the side of Silver Team. I think he did his job right? He wanted to go for the backlines, but it's also because he was doing his job well that he kind of lost that early part of the game because he was trying to dive on the Milo, and Milo knew this for a fact. He was just backing off all the way to the back, and there were always 2 or 3 members on the side of Rival that were ready to back him up.
Yeah, and he's going to need all the help he can get. I mean, going into this one, look, we got a tie game, right? Now it's going to be essentially a best of 3. It's a race to 2 going into this one with these the next 3 games. But the global ban pick, always changing things up, always making things a little bit more interesting, and just kind of what the picks are going to be going in. To be honest, I really liked both of those drafts thus far. Both of these teams really wanted that game too. So it's going to be even more interesting how the draft strategy is going to go for game 3.
Yeah, I think now that they have made apparent about the Yixing picks, the Allgrim picks, these are picks available to the side of both teams, right? I think Allgrim for the side of Silver Team, Yixing for the side of Rival. And these are heroes that can really change the situation or the scenario in team fights simply by just the usage of their ultimates as well. Now, Lady Sun not available anymore for either of these teams, and I think Arlie has been consistently banned in these 2 games, right? So first want to snatch up Arlie might have an advantage in the farm lane, but it also depends on who their roam, their support is, and what kind of strategy are they going for? Are they going for the burst compositions, poke and prod, or are we going for the I want an honest, fair and square fight, we fight blow for blow, face to face?
I just like the fact that we haven't seen Agudo thus far. I was underwhelmed yesterday, and maybe it's still too early. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna start to have to dig deeper into this hero pool. We'll probably see an Agudo at some point, but just not having to see it thus far for 2 games makes at least my heart a little happy at this point.
Really, I'm on the opposite camp here. I want to see an Agudo, and I want to see it played similarly to the way that AG Global was using it yesterday, right? So instead of having it as a let's get a tank, let's just go damage, right? Offense is the best defense. You won't be able to touch this Agudo because we will be shooting shots at you all the time.
Yeah, but it's like, look, it's the whole aggressive thing. I don't like seeing the passive style, like controlling the map kind of type of Agudo. I want to see him again just be that aggressive type, and AG did it yesterday, so we'll see. Hopefully we see a little bit more of that. I think that aggression will pay off, right? I think that we've seen that, you know, teams that do well generally are on the more aggressive side, and being able to take the fight to them going to be huge for them going into this game 3.
And bear in mind, right, BO5s, they are not like super short, and they're not super long as well, but fatigue does play a part, right? And when you're playing a very aggressive lineup, there might be some mistakes that your opponents might make, right? They slip up and suddenly you're gone, 4v5, 3v5, and the map is open, right? So I'm expecting this kind of situations to come between these 2 teams. We have seen that they understand that, hey, let's not take this fight, right? There are a couple of pillow fights in between where they kind of trade blows, don't really get the kills, but that's a great understanding of what their limits are.
Yeah. I mean, we're like, the teams are kind of getting a feel for one another, right? You're seeing exactly where they're going to look to go. I mean, game 2, you saw what Rival Esports, they set themselves up for that nice ambush in that top lane, really set the tone for that game. Once they got those 2 kills, it was kind of like, we have a lead. We know how to play with a lead, right? And they were able to kind of close that game out. So again, they're just changing things up, seeing what, you know, the other team is doing and adjusting. It's going to be key as this series goes on.
Yeah, and I think as the dust settles, right, for both teams, I think you'll notice that Rival Esports, they have a much stronger macro presence, right? They're able to control the map a little bit better. That's one of the reasons why they even won this second game. Simply because, look, you can have all the gold you want, but when there's no T3s to defend your base, and there's super minions, even mega minions marching down in the lanes, how do you play against that?
Yeah, I mean, look, they have to do what they did in game 1, Silver Team that was, right? When they were behind, they were able to come back in that game because they were able to win some of those team fights. They caught them out, and then Rival Esports almost seemed like they were not exactly panicking, but they were not playing their usual self, where they were not kind of cohesive and sticking together with those team fights. You know, they really bounced back. Rival Esports were like, hey, we know what we did wrong in that first game, and we were able to kind of close that second game out because they were just, again, able to stick together.
Yep. I think just generally, maybe Silver Team for me, I think they are a much better team at team fighting, right? But when the odds are against them in terms of itemization, in terms of gold, you start to see the weaknesses that they have. Now, we will now get an Agudo in this game, right? Thankfully for you, it is going to be part of the ban pool.
Yeah, I feel like I banned it myself. I don't know. I was hitting ban on my own game, on my phone, but it looks like it just kind of registered in the game. You know, but look, I think that this is about the right time to be kind of to showing some of those heroes and to playing them, right? And to have that synergy, right? Agudo was probably going to be here in game 3. Silver Team were threatening, or they didn't want to have to play against it, so they pick it, or they ban it themselves, but they pick up the Ogren. Interesting.
Okay, so Ogren, one of the best team fighting junglers we can see, right? Very good sustain, able to get the insta-kill with the Seer State as well. I think they need to pair this up, but they need to be very careful about burst potential coming in from Rival, right? We've seen teams make use of the Shangguan, we've seen teams make use of Digan and Mo, or even just the Liang, right? Control or burst, take your pick.
Yeah, I will choose all of the above. Thank you very much. I think it helps to have everything at this point. But again, I'm more about the well-roundedness of a draft, ensuring that you have answers. Because, you know, especially when you're going into the drafts like this with the Dolia and the Liu Bang, you have a little bit of a potential for some craziness with those battlefield commands. And of course, the Celestial Melodies really helping out with that. Rival Esports have opened the door for, you know, the world is their oyster at this point with the hero pool.
Yeah, but look, they have the traditional combination of the Liang and the Princess Frost, right? That's a very hard combination to break. And at this point, if Silver Team, they managed to get the goal lead as they have successfully done at multiple points throughout the 2 games, it might be a tough situation for Rival to handle. Now, they pick up the Long for themselves. That's a good amount of burst, and riding the win, definitely effective in stopping the kids of all 3 picks so far.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential, right? Just staying alive. Loong very strong. I think that, Rival Esports know that this is again, pivotal game 3. We talked about how important game 1 was, but when you've tied it up and you're going into a game 3, this is just as important, if not more important at this stage, because then you would have match point 2-1. You want to be in that driver's seat. So a really good hero. Plus, it really kind of synergizes well with Adolia. The Celestial Melody, having 2 infinite vastness could be key.
Oh, I love the Yixing Bang here. Definitely takes away that re-engage potential coming in from Rival, right? Rival, likewise, they ban on Guan Yu. And I think it's a pretty good strat because you don't want everyone huddled up against an Ogre. That's the worst case scenario, right? And especially against a Princess Frost. Look, Winter is here. When the freezing comes true, yeah, the Frostbite, it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. A lot of damage, a lot of zoning potential. And look, the Princess Frost is kind of, in some ways, they look at it as like a counter to the Ogryn in a way, with that Winter is here. But seeing as they picked it up themselves, the potential for that, the Winter is here on top of just Ogryn just running at you could be very, very scary, right? But Rival Esports, I mean, they have the options to get out. I like the Battlefield Command. The saves could be potentially there. That'll be super interesting as of how they want to go in, because you're going to have to figure out ways to get onto that back line of the Silver Team.
Oh yeah, for sure. At this point, there is quite a challenge in getting to the backlines, I feel, right? Because at every option you take, you are at risk of getting controlled by JK's ultimate at this point. No, JS ultimate at this point. And even the setup by Do might be quite painful.
Yeah, well, I mean, that control would be key, but how do you really, I mean, look, okay, they're flashing over so many heroes right now. I'm not sure which way Rival Esports are going to go, but it's going to really come off to JS. Like, is he able to flash control somebody, have that lockdown, and probably best case scenario on Rising Star, but then you have the Liu Bang with the Battlefield Command. It might be a tough order, you're going to have that, you're going to need burst, basically, by Silver Team to ensure that you do kill that person that you do lock down.
Yeah, they can also go with the super sustenance, right? So as long as at this point JK doesn't die, then WH is going to have a pretty good game. Now he's going to try for that farm lane Dr. Bien. Okay, we have seen this.
Whoa.
We've seen this play out really well. Okay, but now there is quite a bit of control coming in from the side of Rival as well, right? You have the Clash Lane Liu Bang, you have the Riding the Wind from Milo, you have the Cannon Blast coming in from Hero as well. So let's see how this plays out, because if they play their cards right, I think it's going to be super hard for Rival to just melt down the likes of Silver Team here.
Yeah, a lot of sustain. I mean, going into this one, I mean, you're kind of thinking is like, oh, why would they pick the Dr. Beyond as the farm laner? But you have so much damage throughout, right? You have the Ogryn, you have the Princess Frost, you have the Byron. Like, damage is not a problem on this team. It's staying alive and having even more heals with that Dr. Beyond. It could be super interesting. It's a little more on the unconventional side. But look, Rival Esports go with Kaiser to kind of round out their draft. Is that going to be enough? Is that sustain going to keep you into this game, Kindofu?
I honestly, I don't think so. Okay, I like the idea of it, right? Conceptually wise, it does well against the Ogryn. You're able to sustain, right? And he does do a healthy amount of damage at this point. But when you're playing against a kid that thrives off of extended team fights like the Dr. Bien, is that really the best choice you want to make here, right? That's my point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I always find like Kaiser, he's underwhelming at times. He used the Invincible Warrior and you're like, okay, yeah, you have a secondary one with the Celestial Melody, but then are you able to kind of get that pick off and that damage? And so it's really going to come out to the other supporting cast. I mean, no one's really supporting it in this case, but like the moats, the Cannon Blast, you need the Loom to do the damage with that burst. Basically, everybody really needs to be playing well. Rival Esports proved me wrong in game 2. They were able to just synergize and coordinate very well. Are they able to continue that momentum and into game 3? We're going to have to find out here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, my thoughts are it's called Invincible Warrior, not Immortal Warrior, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out how that one plays out. Again, like, the Kaiser for me is not my top pick. But the potential, I understand why they want it. You want that frontliner to kind of deal with, I mean, he's tough to take down, right? And if you're looking at Silver Team, they don't really have a whole lot of burst, so he could potentially out tank it, so to speak.
They have 2 levels. They have a space of 2 levels to try and get a kill onto WH, right? If Rival can do that, then yes, there is a potential of them ending the game early. Because late game Dr. Pian, he's not fun to play against. He has huge sustain. He has AoE heals for the team, and they're essentially going to be a death ball on the side of Silver Team.
Yeah, it's gonna be actually super annoying to deal with. Just the sustain is unreal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, even that with the Ogren, I mean, you just have to do like anti-heal, like the Venomous Staffs. You gotta like whatever you can to kind of limit this. But at the same time, Rival Esports probably you want to control the game and to kind of take away space as much as possible, because again, to your point, you don't want to really go to that late game.
Yeah, like there's a couple of people they need to take care of on the side of Rival. They need to make sure that JS is not comfortable in the fights. That's number 1, right? Number 2, if they can actually kill off JK, I think that overall error.
Kenji is going to get gone on Storm Strike. The Conductor of Souls is too much for the Battlefield Command, and he says, bye-bye, I'm out of there.
Clutch move there, and with that, Kenji, he saves his life. Does give away a little bit of damage from that T1 on the tower, but I think at this point it's still okay.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give up first blood. I mean, JK was potentially getting it with you. I mean, one of the two, and either of those guys, you really don't want to give them a lead, right? So it's a long cooldown, which is probably to the detriment of Kenji here, as he needs to play a little bit safer, ensure that he stays alive. But look at how JS waiting in the wings. He wants to hit that level 4 before he goes for this flash control play. And he just wants Kenji to just go out of that bush.
Yeah, they know he does not have an escape.
Yeah, they got the control, they have the walls, the barriers, but Kenji dashing away? Is he able to get away? No, Yu chases him down, goes under the tower, gets first blood.
Perfect flash, right? I would take that trade for the flash any day. That's a good start for the side of Silver Team. And it's playing exactly to how I think the draft should be like in the early game, right? And right now, they're making sure that WH is extremely safe. He is no longer in a position where he's easily killable at this point. He's not in God mode for sure, but look, it's a difficult position to try and get the kill. If you're
you need like so many different, like you need at least 3, I would say, to take down WH, especially under that tower. Like that potential for burst is just not really feasible at this point. I think that he has just so much sustain. It's going to be tough for them. And Silver Team right now doing a great job. They have a 1.2k net worth lead already.
Yeah, I mean, this is the interaction of playing against a long sustained fight comp, right? You're gonna have to go in, and that's where Do and JS, they are gonna absolutely love that positioning, because you have to fight into them.
Yeah, I mean, with that winner is here, it's just gonna be tough, right? There's just so much zone control that Silver Team have. It's gonna be annoying to kind of go into. And look at that, they're just already starting to fortify things. Nice Cannon Blast onto 2 though. They have the barrier, but it looks like the steal or the JK is already taking down the Tyrant. You trying to get away. JS is actually gonna be killed. They have Think inside the box, the nice little lockdown, and they've got 3 members.
Red team has
Rising Star gave the play there. He was responsible for the lockdown, and control is definitely one of the ways that you deal with this long sustaining lineup, because no Qs coming in, no auto attacks coming in. There is nothing you can.
Yeah, nothing you can do, unfortunately for them. But Rival looking to do whatever they can with this, and they're looking to invade. Zinger's looking to take away the blue buff here, and Rival right now finding ways to make this work. That net worth lead gone. In fact, they've actually taken advantage.
Yes, this is a golden opportunity for the side of Rival, right? Right now, because it's even, right? If they can kind of push the map control, kind of get a couple more kills, then Silver Team, they're not going to be in a position where they can fight back at all.
Yeah, I mean, they will at some point. They just need more time and space to get going. I think JK is your win condition right now. WH needs to just kind of stick with the team, or just create that sustaining snowball-y type of push. Oh, Hero almost walked into that one. JK is going to play push. They do have the control. They're going to try to blow it down. The winner is here, on point. They get the execute. JK takes this one. JK still sticking around. He eats a flaming palm. It looks like that's going to be the end of it.
Do they really still want to fight? That's the thing. They burned out 4 elements just to get a kill onto Hero, who's a support, by the way. And at this point, if they take a fight now, I don't think it's going to be too good.
Yo, just the support lives matter, bro. Huh?
Yes, it does.
Looks like Kenji's gonna stay alive. try to keep that T1 up as long as possible. But it looks like with that, you know, that pickoff onto Hero, while it might not have seemed too much, it's still, it's any sort of way to get, you know, that net worth lead. You want to get yourself going. Silver team has not done a good job in the laning phase, and getting that advantage would be night and day from the first 2 games.
Yeah, and we might see a potential kill here. Yu is going to be surrounded by 4 different members.
Oh, they're looking to go for this one. They have the Battlefield Command on top of this. Yu trying to stay alive, but there's just too much damage. Too many members of Rival Esports. He gets picked off. He's down for 20.
Yeah, but they commit 5 members into this play. So the map is pretty much open for Silver Team.
Yeah, I mean, but look, if you're gonna, you want to make rotations that convert into successful kills, right? You want to guarantee that as much as possible. Look at how that fact that single kill has looked to turn into a bottom T2, assuming they're able to pick it up, and they finally do. So all in all, a win for Rival Esports.
Yeah, for sure. And Silver Team, they're taking too long to respond, right? The ultimates are up, skills available, resources available for Rival to take another big fight. And now JK might be in a terrible position because there's so many options that Rival can kind of play at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they can push it out, but it looks like there's going to put pressure on the top lane. Silver Team doing a good job. They do take the top T1, which is going to be great. Winter is here. Milo over the wall does some damage onto WH, but he's kind of mainly shrugging that off. Infinite Vast is on back. Milo's fine.
Okay, so it looks like it's a good situation for Silver Team, right? Forcing out the Infinite Faster from Milo and whatnot. But look, I don't think there's much more they can do.
Yeah, not much they can get. Oh, the flash over the wall. JS just barely alive. He somehow stays alive. The Winter is here, is on point. They're looking to get Kenji. He dashes over the wall. The Invincible Warrior trying to just duel this, but they do have the lockdown, and they end up killing Hero. That's a roamer down again, and Hero just, you know, he's been picked off twice already.
Blue team.
Yeah, not the best situation. I mean, okay, so the roam is supposed to take as much damage as he can for the team, right? But at this point, as Hero, he needs to stay alive. He needs to get the Celestial Melody down onto his teammates.
I mean, it's not only that. I mean, the Celestial Melody is great and definitely the highest priority and why they picked this hero, but it needs to stay alive. The amount of just be able to cycle your skills is more important than the potential 2 basics that you might get off. You need to just stay alive again to kind of protect your team.
They need as much sustained, right? The ult definitely going to be able to kind of mitigate the risk of taking long, extended fights against WH, who is essentially a pseudo healer for the team, but also a massive killer against the side of Rivals.
Yeah, you're going to need whatever you can at this point. Just give yourselves a chance. I mean, the kills have shifted in favor of Rivals, but the net worth, Silver Team, again, finding ways to outfarm them. And again, it's kind of scary, especially with this WH on this Dr. Beyond. Once he hits that critical mass and is able to just heal everybody, and it just has this death ball of, you know, healing pushing goodness, you're going to have a tough time.
Oh, Hero once again on the back lines. There is going to be support coming in, so every time Rising Star gets a stun, it's going to be huge.
It would be huge. Hero's still up in front, though. They're potentially going to go, but the force field suppression already been used. They have the control, they have the lockdown, but they don't really have the damage. He's able to out-heal this. Kenji staying alive, but Yu goes down first, and Kenji finally does fall. They did have it in the end, but Zigger now trying to fight over this wall. Super awkward place to fight, but through it all, it's going to be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, 1-for-1 and in the Clash laners as well. But the heals are still coming in from this side of Silver Team. So WH definitely very valuable at this point. Rising Star does not have the option of the counterplay.
Oh, Tom gets picked off the Flaming Palm, the Infinite Vastness. Oh, he wants to go aggressive. He's going to look to go for the backline, but now he's in control. Oh, he went in too deep, and now he pays for his sins. Milo down for 30.
Yeah, greed is looking not that great for the side of a Rival here.
Yeah, JK with the Conductor of Souls, the Battlefield Command. Here comes back Kenji looking to fight for this one, but through it all, JK just too much sustain. WH, yeah, he's been controlled. He's been cannon blasted, but he's shrugging most of this off. There's just too much sustain from Silver Team.
Yeah, look at the benefit of having such long extended fights, right? Yu is able to get the split push going in, and now bot lane, P2 under pressure, there is no way to kind of mitigate the damage here. They have to send Milo over, and this gives so much room across the map for them to make a better decision. And right now, Tyrant seems to be the goal.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to start this one off. Oh, it looks like they're going to go for this. Looks like they're going to just take this one for free. No real issues for them.
Yeah, and look, Tyrant buff going into the hands of Silver Team is a huge benefit for them.
Overlord has been defeated.
Yeah, looks like they've taken the Overlord. They're looking to trade this hero, looking to just get away. He's going to get executed. He dies yet again. JK finds him and through it all. Silver Team now with this minion wave looking to crash in on this mid T1. The Shadow Vanguard will stymie this push, but through it all, Silver Team have gotten what they wanted, which is the pickup as well as that mid T1.
Yeah, from hero to zero at this point, it's a very painful experience for the Rome on the side of Rivals, right? But the game is not over just yet. But as it goes on, it's going to be really difficult for Rival because, look, they're out-sustaining them.
They're out-sustaining. They're looking to go. The Conductor of Souls. The Winter is here right in the heart of it. Zinger looking to fuck this with the Invincible Warrior. He's getting solo. He gets executed. JK slam dunks him. Milo now on the run. He dodges the barrier. The mid T2 is taking some damage. And it looks like you still up in front trying to find a target. But they take the mid T2. They're continuing to siege. These Vanguards are here looking to slow it down. But they've got two members advantage. They've got power play in that sense. The bottom T3 is taking a lot. They have the control. They have the suppression. They get another slam dunk. JK takes down Milo. They take the bottom T3. The mid T3 is looking to go down. Where are the minions? They don't really have that. JK all the way up in front. Now they're looking to potentially end. They're going to focus it down. They do have it on the crystal. They're taking it down, and through it all, they get Rising Star, and they will take the base.
Holy, the Fountain of Immortality, the heals coming in. What a smart draft. I mean, okay, we've seen this happen before, but every single instance of this kind of strategy working, it makes me so happy.
No, it was really well played. I mean, that's exactly how you want to play this one, right? And that was just perfect in what you wanted to have done, especially as a game 3, right? You needed to ensure that you had these heroes. This is a set lineup that they had. They understood how to play this one. They were coordinated, very well coordinated. They were, you know, playing well together, understanding what they needed to done. Really well played by Silver Team.
Yeah, so at this point, Rivals, I think the better decision, hindsight bias, guys, do not come for me, right, was that Kaiser was not the best pick, right? They needed to go for something of a more burst mechanic, or maybe even something more controlling, right? So I think we've seen shades of brilliance from the side of Rivals, especially Rising Star. Every single time he got that beautiful thing inside the box, they won the fights, right? Because there was no heals to be had. WH could not get his skills down. But the moment Rising Star expended his think inside the box awkwardly or even prematurely, there's no fight to be had.
Yeah, no fight. And I mean, if we're looking at those team fights, just Silver Team able to just kind of control it out. JS with you know, some amazing plays, right? There were moments where Milo was getting a little aggressive with those infinite vases. He needs to kind of stay alive, ensure that he's hitting people from the back line. Because again, once JS got you locked down, this is the power of that Liang, is just able to control you. And those zones were just way too much for Rival Esports to overcome.
Yep, the tunnel vision was quite strong on the side of Milo, right? He thought that was a win condition, and I believe it is also a win condition, but he just simply forgot that, hey, JS does have the control now. So let's take a look at the items at this point. Look, stock standard from Milo, he wanted to go for the huge burst Starbreaker along with the Eternity Blade Master Sword as well, going into the Siege Breaker. But even then, there was not enough time, because look at WH. He went full defensive here, probably going into the Twilight Stream to make the efficiency of his heals that much more stronger.
Yeah, actually, that was perfectly played. Again, we were kind of like, I did not have a problem with this Dr. Beyond line, this hero pick. It just synergizes so well with the rest of them. And again, you're not the, you know, the main star in this one. You're letting Ogren, JK 802 clear MVP on this one, really shine. And you're just providing more sustain. I'm surprised we haven't seen this even earlier.
Yeah, curious, right? But at this point, I think it's also pretty difficult to execute this kind of strategy, because look, if the Dr. Bien, if let's say we flip the script, WH died early in the game, there's no game to be had. Milo would have just walked all over him. The map would have been so dangerous for the side of Silver Team, because look at the lineup on the side of Rivals. They are also insanely global. Kenji, we've seen the escape in level 4, right? That could be turned into a massively aggressive move on the side of Rivals as well.
Okay, yeah. It looks like, okay, look. I just, the way that they played out, the fact that Dao only died twice, you as well, but they just created so much space, and they were just like the frontlining type, that just attracted so much attention for JK to just run up on people. And you're seeing that damage that JK had, 92,000, just an absolute monster game for him.
Yep, show me the team tab. Show me the heals coming in from WH. I'm sure that was a monstrous amount. I mean, he essentially was a walking fountain, right? Nobody was near death, and even when they were at 5 stacks of his first skill, look, the heals were coming in for free.
Yeah, I mean, there was just like, look, they had so many heals, so many different options for Silver Team to kind of just out-sustain them. I mean, they took a lot of damage as well, but they, you know, if you're looking at this rival esports lineup, again, just they really didn't have the answers. They weren't able to kind of control anybody. The Kaiser pick, in my opinion, was a little underwhelming. It didn't really see the true potential of him, especially in this lineup, and that's a tough nut to crack, so to speak.
Yep, I mean, more is less, right? At this point, there's too many members on the side of Silver Team that you have to control when you're looking at through the lens of rival. And yeah, regardless of who they caught, the only situation where they would have a advantage was coming in from thinking inside the box, right? Nobody else had decent control to be able to consistently lock them down and still get the burst in, right? That was supposed to be Milo's role, but Milo could never hit that financial mark at all.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get going. I mean, he was trying to force plays at times. You just got to just kind of sit back and just farm with whatever you can at this point. And he wasn't really able to do that. I didn't feel like he was super comfortable on this one. So again, that was just game 3. We'll find out what happens. We have potentially one more game, maybe more. We want to see this go the distance, of course, in this best of 5, but we're going to take a little bit of a break right now.
Show about to start, now hit the spotlight. There's a need electricity, you can feel it in the air. Are you ready? Cause I'm ready, let's rock and roll. Look in the mirror, tell yourself it's your time. If we believe in magic, we'll be stars in the sky. You'll be unstoppable when you remember, feel the power in your heart. So go on and let it shine. I'm gonna it's your time to shine. Press play. Just remember, you the man, yeah, you the man. Anybody disagrees, who cares anyway? We on a rocket ship going up to space, y'all. You on a mission to the stars, looking back now. Turn me up, cause I'm coming in loud. I'm gonna walk into the room, all I hear is wow. Ready for this? Enjoy the show. I'm gonna live my life in the starlight. This rhythm is burning deep inside. Electric, so alive. I'm gonna dance all night in the moonlight. Won't stop until my dreams are light to the world. I'm gonna touch the sky. Turn it up to good vibes. Set freedom feathers inside. Don't stop, it's alright. We'll be higher than the sun. I'm gonna live my life in the starlight. Won't stop until my dreams are light to the world.
HOK?
Okay, HOK! HOK? Okay, HOK! HOK? Okay, it's okay.
HOK? Okay, HOK.
It's okay? Okay, it's okay.
Honor of Kings 2025 Global Collegiate Tournament Season 1 is about to begin. With a total global prize pool of over 100,000 US dollars. Show your skills and compete for the glory of the world's strongest university. Follow us for more details at HOK Club and the HOK official community. We await your participation. Okay, HOK!
Has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain.
Some call me frivolous. Some say I'm irresponsible. And some? Whatever. My image and reputation as a prince is but a small price to pay for the future of Jade City. I never wanted to be a king. Nor did I want to be a hero. From the outside looking in, one can remain at ease. But even within, one can still find joy. In Jade City, the one thing we never lack is jade. Everyone adores its brilliance. Dazzling, mesmerizing, irresistible. Perhaps people are bound by their prejudices. But fate never is. What truly matters is the future that lies beyond a shattered destiny.
Swords are out! Why are the unskilled not retreating?
People may be biased, but fate isn't.
Okay, Silver team taking game 3. They're up 2-1. With that, really, I mean, the Dr. Beyond pick, there were some questions, right? It's not the traditional farm laner, but they were able to pull it off. And now I'm worried with the other teams that are tuning in, and they're going to see how strong this lineup is, kid.
I mean, if it worked, right? Don't change the formula. I think that's a good strategy to employ, but also, right, double-edged sword. Now that teams know about it, there's definitely drafts you can use or formulate to kind of counter that particular strategy as well. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. And I mean, look, we don't have to worry too much about it at this point. I think both of the teams have now picked Oghren, so we're not going to be seeing any more of that. But we're going to go into this game 4. 2-1 Silver team is already up. They're up match point. Mind you, the losing team on this one goes home, right? The other team, they're technically still not in. They just have the right to play tomorrow against Enigma. That's going to be an interesting one to see who can kind of stack up against that team. But going into this one, you got to take this opponent out. You got to close it out if you're Silver team, right?
We take it one step at a time, right? Of course, we all dare to dream. That's why we're here. But it also requires consistent efforts. It requires very calm and composed ways to do it, right? And so far, based on how Silver Team has been playing, they are just better at composing themselves and looking for those winning moments. Not every moment has to be a big win, but it does need to be an advantage for your side.
Yeah, actually, the biggest thing about this series has been just how back and forth it is, right? It's very neck and neck, but there are no stomps anymore at this stage. This is all about, you know, the teams that are really wanting it and vying for those, you know, those final 2 slots. There's so much at stake, and I'm sure that these guys are feeling a lot of pressure going into this one. But being able to close it out at this point, if you're Silver Team, I would say you put your best draft ahead of you in this one. Like, you just put whatever you can, ensure that you have it, because you want to close out the series as quickly as possible.
Yep, and to take the perspective of the other side, actually Rival also have a very huge advantage here because look, for a team that is on the cusp of winning, to lose this game at this point of the series, it's going to drain you. So Rival might get the momentum in their swing if they take this game as well.
Yeah, they need to go back to their, you know, their tried and true of the game 1 and 2 of kind of having a better laning phase. Silver Team were able to kind of bounce back in that one. They played much better in that early game to kind of get themselves that advantage. They were never really behind, right? But Rival Esports on this one, they need to go back to this one. They need to be aggressive. They need to kind of ensure that they win that laning phase.
Yeah, and also, I think maybe you draft a composition that also benefits off of having the map advantage, right? I think Rival has consistently showed, and this is true regardless of the result, they're able to make the map work for them a little bit better compared to Silver Team, right? Silver Team is just more efficient at taking good fights. So maybe if Rival play to their strengths instead of submitting themselves to what Silver Team wants them to do, we might see a draw once again.
That's interesting that you say that about how Silver Team are like able to take good fights. I think that you're spot on with that one, right? Because almost every single fight that they're looking to take is that they have an advantage or they know where to go. And they've been able to kind of, you know, expand on that and to do a good job and to ensure that they pull that victory out. But again, they need to ensure that they're kind of close in terms of net worth. If they fall behind, that's kind of when this team struggles.
Yep, I think they have very strong visualization, right? Able to kind of picture in what the next step is, right? So they're kind of thinking 2 to 3 steps ahead of the opponent team. And I think that's a marker of a great team, right? We know what good teams are made out of, but to be able to kind of fortune tell and make that a reality, there's a different kind of strength that a team has. And Silver Team right now, I don't think they should be called silver. They should be called gold or platinum or diamond, something like that, because it's been a star-studded performance thus far.
Silver Team, it's just all for show. It's to throw people off. Be like, we're not really serious. We're just silver, right? You know, but all jokes aside, this team is really showing up, right? And I think it's been impressive, getting themselves in this opportunity to win. But let's talk a little bit about Rival Esports here. If you're down 1-2 and you have match point, you're going home, right? Yeah, you're going home with $125 USD. But what are you telling the team here? How did they bounce back in this game for?
What a Muay Thai coach would tell anyone. 1-2, elbow. Give them that uppercut as well, right? You need to go hard, go strong, knock them out, make them bleed, right? At this point, I think this is the time where you steal your heart, steal your emotions, and you just turn into an objective gaming monster, right? We look for where the cuts run deep. I think that's where Rival will shine.
Okay. But what is the uppercut in the MOBA stance? Is it just like taking all the T3s? Like what, you know what I mean? Like, how would you change it so that, you know, you're kind of talking to this team here, Rival Esports? Like, yeah, you can throw out an uppercut, but like, what are we doing specifically, strategically in this game?
Okay, so most teams, they look at it from two distinctive points, but there is a need for a third, right? So the number one, let's crush them in the draft. Give them a very uncomfortable situation, right? The second one is obviously execution. Play the map well, take good fights as well. And the last one, you have to crush them so convincingly that you mess with their mental state. That's where the momentum swoop is going to come. But you know what? This is all theory. Let's take a look at the practical applications of it. Now, first ban coming out is going to be a Doom. Now, this is in comparison to taking out that tank jungle meta. So I'm hoping that Silver Team is going to go for the assassin jungle meta, right? Fits their build really well.
Yeah, I like the fact that you were talking about like as like a coach of just like, you know, winning in the draft. I think it's going to be key. And I also look at this game as a game for the series, because if Rival Esports win it, that's going to be a huge, you know, momentum shift. It's going to be very discouraging for Silver Team. We're like, we had a chance to knock them out, but now we're on our back foot, and it could be potentially, you know, devastating, right? But if this game goes the way of Rival Esports and they're able to do that, you potentially win the series. So I think that you're talking about the draft, but I'm talking about just setting themselves up for this, because this is pretty much all in for Silver Team as well.
Yep, there's many angles for this, right? And now they're going to start off with a very strong footing. Silver Team going for the Arlie. Now, Arlie, one of the most feared farm laners, simply because of her mobility. And if you allow this Arlie, specifically WH, to reach the late game stage in terms of itemization and level growth, you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah, not going to have a good time. And to be honest, I feel like Arlie is the strongest farm laner left. So they're going to have a slight edge on this one, but the Dia here and the Yixing, a little bit of control, sustain. There's a lot of power in both of those picks.
Yeah, now there is a lot of space control as well, right? When the board is laid down, Rival able to really turn fights in their favor as well. Now, with this being said though, if they really choose to pick up the Dharma, I'm not sure if that's going to be the best case scenario. It does not work that well when you're caught in the ball.
Okay. Look, they're starting to. Okay, they're gonna go with the Dharma. To be honest, I will always approve of a Dharma pick. I love the hero, just the flashiness, the amount of control, the damage, and the potential, right? But really, with the Lady John here, nice little 1-2 combination. They're setting themselves up for success in this draft thus far.
Okay, the way I'm looking at this, I think a Charlotte is going to be fantastic for the side of Rivals, right? Charlotte is one of the heroes that has the perfect chase down against the likes of an Arlie. So if they're looking for the split fight, that would be a great idea, but looks like they want to go for a more team fight composition, right? So the Sun Tzu with the set sail will be able to set situations up where they get multi-man stuns and maybe even multi-man bursts, right? This is going to be a very important marker between a combination of both Kenji and Rising Star if they can play their cards right.
Yeah, Sun Tzu is just an absolute beast, right? He was picked like 23 times in Season 3. He had a 74% win rate. This is a hero that, you know, the counter initiation is like amazing, right? Just being able to set it up. They definitely need an initiator on this Rival Esports lineup, and that's kind of what they're lacking right now. But once those team fights happen, man, and he comes in with that set sail and he's able to time it properly, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, right now I think Zhang Fei will be a definitely good ban on the side of Rivals. I think taking away that kind of shielding ability for the side of Silver Team. Yeah, there we go. Hey, welcome. It's Coach Kin. But in any case, yeah, Silver Team. Let's take a look at it, right? Farm lane missing, jungle missing. I think they need something that offers quite a decent amount of burst because it's pretty squishy on the side of Silver Team.
Yeah, very squishy. You're going to need some frontliners. You're going to have to kind of just sustain them, right? And to kind of deal with the fact that you want to kind of keep them at arm's reach. The Yixing, the taking of the board, it could be a potential issue, especially that setup with the set sail. Could be just tough to deal with. But the Dian Wei ban, very smart by Silver Team. To be honest, what hero sticks out to you for Silver Team? What do they need right now? Other than taking aggression.
I think someone that's able to kind of push them out of position, right? So in this case, maybe a Musashi makes sense for them. In fact, actually, I think Musashi makes even more sense on the side of Rivals, right? Genwei and Musashi, two very prominent picks for me in their eyes because number one, with the Illuminating Slash, you can kind of get rid, if the timing's right, get rid of the Destructive Deluge, get rid of the Flowing Sai as well. These are big markers, they require that. And here we go. Musashi, definitely going to be very valuable for the side of Rivals. At the same time, still decent chase down against the likes of WH Arlie.
Okay. Yeah, looks like they're tuning in. They're listening to your words here. I mean, the Musashi pick right on, spot on. Obviously, being able to get onto him. Plus, they're on the squishier side. Now, Silver Team, I'm a little worried. They're potentially picking. They're hovering over the Kaiser again. I talked about how I don't like the Kaiser on this one. Okay, it looks like they're locking it in because they just don't like me.
No, I think they're locking it in because I think at this point, JK is meant to be that sponge. He is supposed to be the one that they want Zinger to use his duel to the depth on. Right? You don't want to allow him to use it on WH. And in this case, look, I've said this for a long time since I've started playing this game. I want to see a Zhonghui in this game, and finally, we get it on the main stage. JS, I want to see how your hooks are, right? I want to see your mortals. Massive amount of damage, and if they make the mistake of coming in without the appropriate CCs and you know, tagging a CCs, layering a CCs, this Zhonghui is going to destroy the lineup.
Yeah, look, I mean, a lot of it is on JS, right? Is he able to hit those hooks? Is he able to control it? But like, yeah, okay, you're good, potentially going up against the Dia, the Yixing, and the Marco Polo. You're able to get any of those three are juicy targets, right? And to kind of have your lineup just kind of deal with them. But again, is this lineup enough where they have the burst? I mean, they have the Arlie, yes, the Lady Jeanne on top, with the Dharma potentially, yeah. But really, it's going to come down to JS to me. Is he able to just kind of, you know, create that highlight reel of hooks?
Okay, so the hooks at this point, right, the join me, very important because it is a very low cooldown skill. So at this point, if you notice, right, the Marco on the side of Rivals, Milo, he did take up the Purify. Now, that's a very long extended cooldown. So every single hook that JS lands onto Milo is going to force him to try and use the Purify. And Marco without Purify in teamfights, horrendous situation.
Yeah, okay. We're going to find out. This is, of course, game 4, Silver Team versus Rival Esports. Silver Team is up 2-1 going into this one. But look, JS with those hooks, and then you have you on the Dharma, potentially waiting in another brush, just taking you for a ride on the flanks. You might have a tough time. This is going to come down to the vision and just how Rival Esports are able to farm and to kind of get Zinger going, man.
Okay, so I know we've been talking a lot about Silver Team, about how they have this huge potential, but in all honesty, I actually prefer Rivals Draft, right? Rivals Draft, I think, is a little bit more punishing. So every single mistake, if they're out of position or they have a lack of resources in terms of common spells and skills, the punishment coming in from Rival is going to hurt a lot more because there are things like the board, there are things like the Fever Barrage. And if things go awry, right? Hero, yes, he was pretty much a 0 in the previous game, but this game, he is going to be a superstar if he gets his destined encounters right, gets his bitter farewells right as well. Because look, there's plenty of control coming out from Rivals, and Silver Team, they don't exactly have the best save mechanisms.
Yo, you're going to call Hero a 0? You're going to make a rhyme and you're going to diss him? Oh man, this is going to be a rap battle of the ages. I cannot look. I cannot wait to see what Hero, how he rebuttals and comes back at you, Kindofu, on all social medias. Oh, rap battle on the gorge. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But it looks like the pause is going to be, over now. We're going to resume this game. But look, let's talk a little bit about rival esports here. I mean, you have two Purifies, Milo and Hero, both of them with the common skills to deal with the potential hooks where, assuming he hits you, he's just going to kind of blow you up.
Yeah, JS is the only person at this point, besides Dove, that will be able to make Milo expand his Purify prematurely. So he needs to have a great game here.
Yeah, he needs to have a great game. JS, though, he misses his first hook. And for me, that's kind of just like, dude, you're setting up the stage. You know what I mean? Like, you got to hit all your hooks, and you miss your first one. You're not off to a good start, my friend. He hit the second one. It's under tower, but the Heartlink away.
Okay, so JS has displayed a decent understanding of the Zhonghui, right? So Zhonghui, if you're able to hook from a certain distance, you can actually move forward and put that person behind you. And that's actually one of the strategies that JS has employed to get Hero within range of the tower. Now, this is going to be a very important marker because it also then kind of forces rivals to be in a deeper position.
Looks like JS taking some damage, as well as Hero. He's looking to wipe this one. He's going to give up first blood. WH will happily take that one.
Woo. Okay, I'm going to oblige her, and yes, that was a zero play. Because, end of the day, why would you go for the passive hit onto JS again, right? It opened up the window for WH to get a couple more licks in, and that cost them the first blood.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, look, not the greatest of plays. He probably should have just ran off or tried to create as much distance as possible. But Yu goes down in the top lane. It looks like Zinger made a nice little rotation, made him pay. And both of those guys, again, it's all about the laning phase. And setting Kenji up is going to set you up for success in that mid game.
Yep, you can see the benefits of these two plays, right? Number one, if you shut down Yu on this Dharma, he's not going to be as effective. Number one, because he's going to be stuck in lane trying to clear the waves, which means he has later rotations, won't be opening up the Truth Mantra in teamfights unless it is a delayed teamfight. At the same time, taking and getting rid of Hero, who might be in danger again at this point. I think he's going to make it out.
Hero. He's going to get back the Heartlink. Just barely enough to keep him alive, but my gosh, he's playing with fire at this point. I mean, he's getting he's the lowest hero on the map in terms of levels. Just not the greatest. He needs to just stay alive at this stage.
Yep, it's a cause of concern, right? Because Hero needs that Destiny encounter to be effective. He needs to beat a farewell as well. And at this point, the lineup on Rivals requires his Heartlink to be at an appropriate level. They need the heals.
Yeah, they need his sustain. And he needs to stay alive more than anything else, right? He needs the levels. I mean, he just hit level 4. He's about midway into that one. But now he's looking to kind of help the mid lane here. But again, you need to just stay alive, keep everyone else alive. Oh, they've got a nice little connection here. JK is going to use his Invincible Warrior. He will be fine, though.
Okay, I like the stinginess on the side of Rising Star, right? This is not the moment to use the board. 27 seconds left before the first neutral objectives of the game. Tyrant is terribly important for the side of Rivals. They need this extra damage. And I don't know what's happening here.
He just used it nonchalantly. He's just like, oh yeah, he's gonna save it for this Tyrant fight, but then he just uses it. But the set sail, it looks like Kenji very low. He's gonna, just sail his way back into the fountain for shame.
Okay, so quite a few deficits for both teams, right? Right now, Yu doesn't have that ultimate available, so there is no contest available for this Tyrant. So first Tyrant of the game will go into the hands of Rivals. That's a good start for them. This is exactly what they need to have.
Yeah, great start, right? I love that 4-minute Tyrant. Being able to burst it down, ensure that you have that damage boost. It really helps you in the lane, and you gotta not kind of respect it. WH now is gonna play probably a little bit more scared, especially going up against Milo here.
Yeah, curious about the itemization. I think Rising Star might go for the Venomous Star first, or maybe even go for that Frozen Breath. I think that's a much better decision rather than the Mask of Agony. While they are pretty tanky with JS and JK, I think right now is not the time to play that percentage health damage.
Yeah, it's way too early, right, at this point. So let JK farm. He's doing second best on his team. WH has done quite well, right? I think that the early, we knew that it was going to have some power spikes, and he's been dominating in that lane, and JS is just kind of like, it's more of like the threat of the hook more than actually hooking at times. And, rival esports have to play a little bit more scared in that sense.
Yeah, this is a big investment, and Yeah, they did not get the play that they wanted. The rotations going into mid. It's still a 4v2, so it's a benefit to the side of rivals here.
Yeah, I always feel like Yixing is like throwing up those boards. He's just like, hey, come play with me, but nobody wants to play with him. But it looks like the Overlord is going to be picked off. JK is going to take the smite here, but now he's continuing on. He's looking to go, but he's got 3 members on him. He gets focused down, and he's going to be killed. Zinger makes him pay for just trying to stick around. You, though, in the pit, he's going to look to get gone on, and Zinger with a double thus far. Ooh.
Yep, that was the best possible situation for the side of rivals, and they're definitely going to try and take advantage of it. But right now, look, WH has not been disturbed this entire game, and the laning phase is not in the favor on the side of the farm lane. Milo, he's trailing EXP, trailing a little bit of farm as well, and T1 on the bot being threatened at the same time.
Yeah, but you know, Milo on the Marco Polo is a grower now to show her, right? He's gonna just needs time to get to that mid game. But WH now looking to go in this. He's looking to just take him out. He gets the pick off. WH wants more. He's looking to get hero, and he gets a double. WH with the outplay.
Yep, putting the double in W, right? So double UH doing a fantastic job. A solo double kill, and this nets him the reward of the Shadow Ripper, and that's going to be a huge increase in damage and you know, just mobility and attack speed overall.
I am just wowed by that. WH, the gall to go in, understanding that, hey, they got 2 members. I don't care that Hero is going to try to back you up. I'm able to outclass you. Now he has a 2-level difference, and he's just kind of dominating that bottom lane.
Yep, so not only was he undisturbed, he has now been funneled the majority of the gold of this 19, close to 20,000 gold in total accumulated by the side of Silver Team as well. Now JS, his partner, I think has done decently, right? Landing a couple of hooks as well. I think as long as he stays patient with his ultimate, I think it could be a beneficial situation for the side of Silver Team.
Blue team has destroyed
he's only
a
hit a couple.
tower.
I mean, I haven't seen too many kills off of them thus far. But it looks like they're going to kind of fight in the jungle here. JX is going to just be up in front. The world is my board. The hook is going to be a little off the mark, and JK is taking a lot of damage. He gets dueled to the death. He's going to get knocked out. He's going to be killed. But you now looking to go. He gets the truth. He sets it up, and Zinger gets killed in return. They do have the suppression. Dao, though, is going to go down. Double kill going the way of Milo thus far. It's 2 members for 2 from Rival as well.
Yeah, I mean, total darkness for the side of rivals, right? The Into the Void by JS, very prominent timing and positioning. I think WH was just a little bit too late to get the remaining kills, right? He definitely could have gotten a triple kill off of that play.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to just take this mid T1 Silver Team right now, taking advantage of that fact. I mean, yeah, you trade it out, evened it out, but look, I'm going to take the mid T1. I'm going to invade your enemy jungle. And look, WH walks away with both of those buffs. They, you know, Rival Esports need to figure out a way to kind of get onto WH.
Yeah, because right now it's adding salt into the wounds, right? Zinger without the Zero Golem, he does not have the cooldown that is required. Illuminating Slash, the extreme speed, it all requires him to have quick cooldown so he can go over and over again, get the tankiness down as well.
Did you see Rising Star throw out another World is my board just like randomly? He's done like 2 or 3 of these.
It's not random. I understand what he's trying to go for. I think they keep thinking that someone's hiding in that Azure Golem bush waiting for the gank. But that has not shown up at all from the side of Silver Team.
Like I mean, preemptively you're going for it. I get it, but what? Like the ult is not something that cycles off like cool. I mean, the cooldown is a decent length of time. I think that you need it in the fight, and that's very suspicious to me. But the teleport in the bottom lane, JK just instantly goes for that bottom T2. The taking liberties. The invincible warrior looking to turn this around. Hero might have gone too far. He's not able to get away. He's going to be killed. And now Zinger looking to fight this one, and it looks like he's going to fall. And Dao falls in return. Milo getting the killing spree. JK just limps away, and it looks like he wants to go for this. It's a 1 versus 3, but at what cost? And Kenji's going to be killed. He was baited in. That's a triple going the way of WH.
What? What a team play! That was sick! My goodness, Silver Team just using all of the resources in a perfect layer. It's like they have one hive mind. That's insane.
Yeah, one hive mind. I mean, basically, you're just saying their brain isn't big enough to have more. No, I'm just kidding.
One brain
playing
cell.
well together. I mean, everybody's just playing, like, sticking together. I mean, JK, I thought he was going to be killed, but just playing the absolute limits. Kenji coming, showing up a little bit late, trying to take this fight 1 versus 3. Not in his favor. Not a great way to go out.
Look, I appreciate Song Hui plays because I play him furiously, and I play him a lot of times, right? So the fact that he saved his joining me for that specific situation, that was sick, man. Right now, and you know, Silver Team, they are at such an advantage. 3,000, 4,000 in fact, not the biggest, but it's big enough to kind of deter any neutral objective takes, and the map is not safe at all.
Yeah, not safe. Rival Esports, I mean, they're a team that likes to play with the lead. I mean, who doesn't, right? But they kind of struggle when they're behind. They're not able to find the gaps to kind of come back. So this is kind of a tough situation for Rival Esports. They need to figure out how to crack into this armor because Silver Team have had answers thus far for almost everything.
They don't have anything, right? At this point, when it rains, it pours. Look, WH, he has gotten the Daybreaker. So all of this Blood Rage shield coming from Zinger, not going to matter to him as well.
Has destroyed a tower.
I mean, look, they've been on point. Silver Team, Kaiser showing up and really doing a great job of just understanding how to play this hero to its limits. And just kind of pushing it out. He's been that tanky guy that's done quite a lot of damage and has a decent amount of control. But JS, another hook that was missed here, but it looks like Kenji, he's going to get gone on. He's trying to get away. He gets away with that set sail. He cracks it into the wall. JK now getting focused in. He's about half-life. WH looking for the pick-off. He goes golden, but he gets a Shattered Rising Star. He gets shot down. Zinger's going to be killed as well, trying to save his buddy. That's 2 members down, and now Silver Team looking to go in. They're trying to go in. Milo with the Fever Barrage used defensively. He's going to back off. They have the Heart Link with the Truth pushing back Kenji. They take the mid T2. They're going to continue on. They got Kenji. They've gotten Hero. And they've gotten almost everything at this stage. Silver Team playing so well at this point.
Putting the golden standards up here. Look, WH, that was a pseudo hook. He pulled Zinger all the way into the members of Silver Team as well. That was insane.
Insane at this point, but look at with 4 members down, Rising Star is up, Zinger's going to be up in a second as well, but now they're at death's door. The mid T3 looking to go down. The World is Mighty board is going to be committed onto JK, but not really much. Oh, the Truth, Rising Star, he just comes back in and looks like they're going to take the bait. No, they get the duel to death. They stop that one. They do end up taking this, and Silver Team will move on.
Putting the shine and the bling from the Silvers to the stage. My goodness, Silver Team, what a performance. Like, the draft, okay, was it the strongest draft ever? No, definitely not. There are some chinks in the armor there. But the way they executed that draft, my goodness, I've not seen a Zhonghui yet. And if this is the standards to come into the Malaysia Honor of Kings League Spring 2025, boy, are we in for a treat.
Yeah, in for a treat for sure. I mean, they're so good, right? I mean, this is not like everybody's impressed me. Like both sides going into this one, even Rival Esports. Both of these squads have really wanted it, but it happens to the shine in terms of a team. Silver Team really stepping up on this one. Very impressive win for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way that WH controlled this game as an RLE, it's phenomenal. We all know, okay, look, matchup, just 1 against 1, right? Marco against RLE. It does not stand in Marco's favor, right? But let's take a look at the items here. The growth is just too explosive. We have to talk about it.
I mean, it kind of started with WH, right? He just had a dominant lane and just kind of control things. They had no answers for him. And the fact that he's 8-0-7, clear MVP on this one, controlling the bottom lane, limiting what Milo and Hero could bring to the table, and just finding ways to get onto them. Because even when Zinger and Kenji were just jumping on you, WH was able to just kind of elusively dodge everybody and then just kind of ensure that they got the counter kills.
Yep, and they played their cards exactly right with that itemization as well. I want to highlight JS. The Frigid Charge, definitely very useful in stopping Milo. Sure, you can force out the Purify. This is why the hook is so important on this Zhonghui, right? So JS, every hook he lands against Milo is so detrimental to the side of rivals. And look, as we go later into the game, now Zinger also has a very difficult choice to make, because right now, who do you use that duel to the death for? Right? Do you go on JK? Which, if you commit to him, you get the kill on the JK. Sure, you burn out so many resources, and now you have to deal with WH. And if you go for WH, then if you don't get the kill, you're down, double down.
Yeah. I mean, look, there was just, I mean, they had answers and they had the nice counter initiations whenever they needed to. They had ways to kind of keep WH alive, even when he like potentially got out of position. I mean, as a draft, this is just far superior, right? Understanding the limits of what each hero needed to have done to ensure that, hey, WH can carry. But Dao did a great job of just creating those zones. JK just being that tanky up front guy. And you, man, he had some sick truths.
Oh yeah, for sure. They just had everything one-upping on the side of Super Team, right? So for every problem that Rival was able to pose to the side of Super Team not only had an answer, they gave a problem back, right? So if Hero jumps in and gets a lockdown on someone, JS comes in for the stop, Do comes in for the stop. Regardless of what the situation is, you will always be the last person coming in. And like you said, the true hurt this time.
Yeah, I mean, just a well-played, well-drafted lineup, and that's the perfect way to end the series, ensuring that you get that win, because they were playing so well together. The synergy of the draft, and then the coordination of just being able to execute. Props.
Yeah, Hive Mind. I think this is the one new trait I'm looking as a team, right? Does everyone know what it's supposed to do? And the moments in which it's supposed to execute those movements, do you hit that check mark? And I mean, this has been the most impressive display of execution based on the team composition to me so far. I mean, okay, it's been 2 days, but yes, it's good.
So you were making the joke that this is the silver team and they should be promoted. What would you give them on their performance today? Like, would you give them a gold star? Would you give them platinum, diamond? Like, where are you?
I would give them a diamond because right now they are shining bright like a diamond.
Okay, they're not like Grandmasters. They're not like, come on, man. Like, give them some credit. No, they had an amazing game. You only think that the diamond players? Boom, Kindofu right there. Find him and yeah, DM him.
Come on, whatever. Yeah, but in this case, I mean, it's been a fantastic day of quarterfinals for our lower bracket runs here, and with that, we will see 2 teams progressing. Right now, half the challenge is complete. Next up, they go up against O2 as well as DTE. So that's it for us today. It's been your favorite kind of tofu Kindofu along with Holla. We will see you tomorrow.
In this world, only ones in this world, only ones in this call out my name, cut through the sound of the rain. No matter how